2 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great with you here, covering for Jason, who will be back on Thursday. The show, as always, brought to you by playalberta.ca. Use promo code Gregor50 and get a $50 free play. Also, tomorrow is Lotto Max, $20 million. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Of course, you can also watch our show on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, all on the Oilers Nation platforms. I appreciate you tuning in. Hope you guys had a fantastic holiday season. We are kind of in the midst of it, kind of that weird time in between where you don't really know what day it is and you're just trying to get through it. But we'll be live today. We'll be back tomorrow with the best of edition of the show, off on New Year's Day, and then return Thursday, Friday, and it'll all be back to normal. Lots to get to on the show today, because lots has happened. We got World Junior action. Canada, as you heard in the intro there, falling to Latvia. They bounced back. They got the win yesterday, but we got to break that down. Now, we'll do that later on in the show. Of course, the Oilers coming off a weekend in which they lose 2 straight games down in Southern California in the Los Angeles area. First to the Kings in overtime, and then yesterday, 5-3 to the Ducks. They had a 2-0 lead, a 3-1 lead, and they let it fall through their fingertips. Tough one. We'll discuss that throughout the entirety of the show as well. And some NFL, because we got a big game for the Detroit Lions tonight as they head to the Bay Area, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners, I said it earlier today on Fantasy Frenzy, the schedule makers had a good one. They thought this game was going to be great. We all thought that. I think we all thought the Niners and Lions would be fighting for top spot in the NFC, and it just hasn't gone that way for the Niners. Injuries been a problem for Detroit. Also, to be fair, having some injuries right now, but in a great spot along with the Minnesota Vikings in that tough NFC North. We'll talk NFL at 2:40. Belle Frazier's going to join us. She covers the Utah Hockey Club down in Utah. Of course, the Oilers will meet them tomorrow night down at Rogers Place. At 3 o'clock, we've got Sean Brown, former NHLer, swinging by. He'll be in studio for 2 hours, co-hosting. Jason Strudel will join us from the mountains. He's on vacation, but he's still going to hop on the show, get his thoughts on the Oilers. I want to ask them both, being former NHLers, how tough is it, that first game after Christmas? I mean, back in the day, maybe you had a little too much eggnog and had some fun. In 2024, these guys are such finely tuned athletes. Should there be the lull in their game? Does it happen? Maybe flying into Los Angeles was a little tough. We shall see. At 3:40, we'll hear from Cam Tate, the 2-minute warning. At 4 o'clock, AJ Jackybook will join us. He's doing the radio call for the World Juniors, so we'll get his thoughts on the response from this team. And, you know, maybe expectations should be a little bit different. I mean, hey, it's a tournament where there's some games, they might be ones you don't really get up for. You kind of look past them. You say it shouldn't happen, but they're still kids. It can happen. We'll see how Canada, responds going forward here, and maybe they'll meet Latvia again, and we'll see a different result. We'll hear from Gregor at 4:20. Talk some Oilers as they, of course, again, get ready for their game tomorrow night. And then we've got Speck and Kevin Woodley at 5 o'clock here. So lots to get to on the show. You can always reach us, 1-833-401-1440 to the eWell inbox. Score with the Power Play partners at eWell. Get all your electrical needs at ewell.ca with 24/7 ordering and shipping in Edmonton and across Alberta. Roll those texts in, 1-833-401-1440. Looks like we had some NFL talk coming on before we hopped on the show. X-Ray Gog says, so very great you're here today, Kate. Greetings to you and Connor covering the show today. And Declan. Declan's keeping things on track here for us. I always love when Declan gets a chance to do the 5 questions because they're just a little bit different than what I might do. And at 2:40, he and I will talk all things NFL and, of course, college football as that gets ready to roll on here. We touched on it just briefly off the top here in the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously not what they would have liked to have happen the last couple games here. They'll have a Utah Hockey Club tomorrow, a team that's 16-13-6 on the season right now. Losers of 3 straight, but 6-2-2 in their last 10. So a team that maybe not playing their best hockey. They might have peaked a little bit early. Low tide, I put your jacket out there by the bar.
If it's not out there.
It's out there. That's Alan Mitchell making a little bit of a cameo. He almost got on the YouTube stream there. He left his jacket behind me, and I took it out of here just so that wouldn't happen. But the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Utah Hockey Club tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage for you with Walker and Paulson at 6 o'clock. Utah, I think a team we know can put the puck in the net. They've got some young firepower. A team that obviously has a bright future. Getting out of Arizona, I think there might have been a little bit more excitement with this team playing in a new stadium and a new fan base, a bigger fan base than what they were used to. But some nice young players on the team as well that they've locked up. So it'll be a tough one for the Oilers. There's no easy game in the NHL. We saw that yesterday losing to the Anaheim Ducks. a game where I thought they would have found a way to get the win, but we'll see what happens with that one, and we'll get you ready for it as well. Again, the text line 1-833-401-1440. Any questions you may have, we'll also get to 5 questions later on in the show. And as I'm texting, or as I'm doing this, we're starting to get a few emails about people potentially joining us later on in the show. So we might have someone from Detroit hop on. I think a lot of the beat writers made the trek down today from Detroit to San Francisco. That's going to be a 6:15 kickoff. Declan, good afternoon. Thank you for sticking around and sliding over into my spot today.
Hey, man. How are you?
Good. Do you have a good Christmas vacation?
I had a great Christmas vacation. I was telling people this was like the most it had felt like Christmas for me in like 10 years. It was just, I was so in the spirit, man.
Just with the younger brother kind of getting into it now?
Yeah, it was great. And I, just seeing family, and like I was watching Christmas movies all December. I was going to the Christmas market. The place was decorated. Like, it was great. I felt like such a kid again. Because when you're a kid, you have that post-Christmas depression where it really hits and you're like, oh, Christmas is over. Like, I got to go back to school. Like, I have nothing to look forward. Like, Christmas is a whole year away. Like, that kind of thing. That's how I felt after Christmas this year. It was crazy. I felt the magic of a child. You know what I mean?
Are you leaving the decorations up for a little while?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. So at my apartment, I have like a little Christmas tree, like 3-footer or whatever, maybe even smaller than that, like 2-footer. I kept that thing up probably until May last year. So I probably got to take it down a little sooner this year, but I'll probably till the end of January. I'll keep it up for a little bit for sure.
I think we might do Jan 1.
Really? So you're getting it out of there quick. What's the quickest you've ever gotten ready your Christmas tree?
You know what? It's been so long. When we lived in the condo, we actually were like the fake tree. So it'd be pretty quick. With the real tree, I want to keep it up as long as we can, but I think pickup is first week of Jan. So yeah, we'll get it out of there pretty quickly. We got a lot of junk. I don't want to say junk.
Yeah.
Clutter building up.
Clutter's the right word. Never junk. Always clutter.
Clutter, yeah. It was the little one's first Christmas. So we got kind of spoiled when it came to presents, and combined with baby shower.
What did he get you?
A lot of clothes.
He spoiled you guys?
Well, we got spoiled by friends and family. Benny got spoiled. Lots of toys. I don't even know what they're called, but lots of stuff that will kind of trickle into him. I let him use every once in a while, but not too often. Try to keep it organized. But the Christmas stuff has to go. So that for us, it'll be gone Jan 1. I also want to ask you, you got into Squid Game. You finished it.
I did.
What's the review here? Because I know we've got a lot of people that have some time off here and we're going to be wanting to stream things.
Yeah, for sure.
Squid Game had the hype. I'm 2 episodes in. So far, so good, but intrigued.
I'll tell you, definitely not as good as season 1, as far as I'm concerned. And I have like a weird affinity for Squid Game. I like weirdly gate kept it because I like the day Squid Game came out on Netflix back in 2021. I watched like all 9 episodes or whatever it was. And then like a week later, people started really talking about it. So I felt like I was that guy who 100% gate kept it and felt like I got out ahead of everyone else and was better than them because of it. So I feel a special connection to Squid Game because of that. So I had really high hopes for season 2. Not nearly as good as the first season. Like I said, ends on quite a cliffhanger. I won't give any spoilers, but season 3, I would think like it has to come out pretty quick here because it was such a cliffhanger. And I really think if it doesn't come out that quickly, people will lose interest, right? Because like it was such a cliffhanger. Like we got to figure it out here. We can't be waiting 3 years. You know what I mean?
I like those shows when they do that and like just knock out 2 seasons quickly. Hopefully they will. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Oddball is texting in. He's saying, hey, do we have Mount Rushmore questions today, Declan?
I haven't done them yet, hand up, but I can certainly work in a Mount Rushmore if that would be appreciated.
I think that's something that people loved about the summer with Declan controlling the questions. The Mount Rushmore was always a hot topic. So yeah, I think we got to work with that one. Some news that came out just a little while ago here, a couple hours. Jonathan Toews says he is hoping to work towards an NHL return. That's interesting because the injuries we know kind of well documented. I believe he traveled. He was working overseas. I believe there was something he was doing, kind of different measures to try to get healthy and return. Still 36 years old, probably has a few more years if he wants to get into it. I wonder where he'd end up. Would he want to go back to Chicago? Maybe go play on a contender? Maybe that might be an option for him. But Jonathan Toews looking to return to the NHL. That's an interesting headline that came out today. And did you guys talk about Jesse Puljujärvi? on
Oh,
the
we
Load
did.
Elbow side.
Oh, we did.
What was the consensus there? Are people wanting the Bison King back in town?
No, people are pretty quick to say that he maybe is just, after this injury and, based on career production, that maybe at this level he just isn't an NHL player. And that's where I come out on it for what it's worth. And, listen, cool guy, tough go at it, but I think the proof is probably in the pudding at this point.
Yeah. So someone we rooted for, we wanted the best for. Just don't know if it was going to work out. But man, pretty cool to say you played with Crosby, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Gino Malkin. Not too many guys can say that. That's a pretty good group of line mates that you can say that you've played with. So we'll see what happens next for Jesse Puljujärvi. Obviously, I think if you're a team that needs to maybe fill out your bottom six and you want to take a flyer on them, could probably find a spot. But that's a tough one. Tough one for JP. Always rooted for the best for him. Maybe had some questions about, the style of play that he had and if it would work playing with the Edmonton Oilers, work at the NHL level. But I always had questions about the way he was kind of handled from the second they drafted him. It just didn't seem like it was done effectively. Hopefully it works out for him in the future. Other news today that came out, G-Roy Simon going down to Sacramento State, the home of Ricky Ray. He'll be their general manager of that football program. Sacramento State made some headlines earlier this offseason that they were potentially going to land Michael Vick as their head coach. It didn't happen. But Sacramento State allegedly putting a lot of money into this football program, and to get a professional general manager in there like G-Roy Simon, who has scouted, dealt with front office things. I think this is a pretty good hire for them, and good for G-Roy to stay in football at the college level. There's plenty of room to go up if he's finds some success there and shows that he can be a good recruiter and that sort of thing. We'll see where he goes next because there's a lot of money to be made in college football. Speaking of college football, we got a game going on right now, Declan. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it here. Is it Iowa? We got Iowa going right now? Or?
Oh, yeah, baby. Iowa, Missouri in the Music City Bowl. 21-14 Iowa at halftime.
All right.
Well, there was 21 points were scored in like the first 14 minutes or something. So it's been a barn burner all offense so far.
Hey, how did Travis Hunter do in his bowl game?
He lost badly, but BYU was a very good team. For me, BYU was on the bubble of the college football playoffs. It was them or SMU. They had the head-to-head win over SMU. Like, BYU was a very, very good ball club. Travis Hunter did have a nice little tutty there. I'm sure you saw it because it was the only thing SportsCenter tweeted out.
Yeah, what was the score? 27-0?
Yeah, no, listen, it was an abysmal coverage by ESPN. No, they gave no shine to BYU, who deserved it. BYU had a great season. I think they were picked to finish 15th in the Big 12 or something like that. Like, they got no shine. Horrible coverage by ESPN. 2 thumbs down. But Travis Hunter, I know you're trying to poke fun, still very good at football.
Yeah. I got to hold in my real. I just not convinced.
You are such a hater, sir.
I don't know. He's electric.
He's so good.
Tavon Austin was electric too.
Tavon Austin was 5'6".
What's Hunter? 5'9"?
5'11".
5'11".
Which means 5'10".
I got to see him bulk up a little bit. I'm intrigued by him. All I'm saying, I don't know if I'm spending a top 5 pick on him. A lot of people have him top 3.
So you really wouldn't spend a top 5 pick on him?
I'm unsure.
Okay. If I may, what would like at least the top 3 look like for you? Like, are we saying Shedeur, Cam Ward, maybe like Will Johnson or something like that?
Depends who it is, right?
Yeah, I know
like,
it is. Yeah.
If I'm the New England Patriots, does Travis Hunter, how much does he help me? Drake May needs to be kept upright. If I'm the New York Giants, well, they're probably going to go Shedeur, right? I don't even know where they're picking. That loss did not help them.
The draft order is so messed up.
Yeah, so I kind of have to wait and see. But a couple quarterbacks, I think there's a couple good linemen in there. And that's just going to change. On Fantasy Frenzy, we'll be getting you in for our mock drafts as we roll closer to the NFL draft in 2025. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's a fine football player. I don't know if I think he's the best receiver in the draft. Is he the best corner? Maybe. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Once we get to pro days and combine, Declan, then we'll really get into it.
Listen, when Travis Hunter can't bench 225 more than 10 times, don't come back here and point fingers at me. That's all I'm saying.
If you can't do that, how are you going to beat press coverage? But you've been on record saying you think he's a corner at the NFL level, right?
Yeah, I think he'd be better suited as a corner. I think he's a very good wide receiver. He is like one of the best in the country. He won but he won. But I just think he's a little too undersized to go up and catch jump balls at the NFL.
Hey, I mean, in this NFL, this is the time he could do it, I hope, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I got to say, I was a Genty guy. I thought he should have got the Heisman, but I'm a caveman. They don't like to give it to running backs, in my opinion. Changes. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you here. Lots to get to on the show today. Like I said, we've got Speck, we've got Kevin Woodley. We'll hear from Jason Gregor and Jason Strudwick. Also, AJ Jakubec will join us out of Ottawa, talk about the World Juniors. We'll also get to some football talk at 2:40. But coming up next, we're going to head down to Utah, discuss the HC with Belle Frazier. You're watching and listening to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Also, Sports 1440's Instagram page. The show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Welcome 2025 with a bang at Rogers Place. It's the Oil Kings New Year's Day fireworks frenzy.
It all starts with the Battle of Alberta WHL style as your Edmonton Oil Kings face their arch enemies, the Calgary Hitmen.
It's a special 2 p.m. New Year's Day puck drop featuring a spectacular on-ice fireworks display after the game.
And at every home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is king-sized.
Oil Kings fireworks frenzy, Wednesday at 2. Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat.
Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Kids getting free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
New year, new you. Let's kickstart 2025 by making better life choices, starting with quality pizza from Papa John's. Right now, get 25% off any regular menu price pizza with promo code BETTER25. A deal so good, it might just count as self-care. But hurry, resolutions wait for no one. Offer ends January 5th. Order now at papajohns.ca with promo code BETTER25. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some Papa John's.
For half a century, that's 50 years, GS Construction has been building the foundation of Edmonton and the surrounding area's infrastructure. But let's make one thing clear. This milestone would never be achieved without the dedication of our incredible team. Together, we've built the underground infrastructure that keeps things running smoothly, from the existing to the new underground systems. It's 50 years of hard work the team has put in to make it all possible. Here's to another 50 years. For more on our team and our work, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Want an easy way to protect your lifestyle and your loved ones? With Mortgage Guard from Cooperators, you can secure your mortgage through a chosen mix of life insurance and optional critical illness and disability benefits. Plus, unlike some other policies, your coverage amount stays the same despite your decreasing mortgage balance. And your beneficiary can use the proceeds any way they want. That's a lot of protection, all in one convenient plan. Contact Camrose Insurance Financial Solutions for more. Mortgage Guard is a registered trademark of and underwritten by Cooperators Life Insurance Company. Please refer to your policy for applicable coverage limitations and exclusions. Individual circumstances may vary.
The holiday season can be a bittersweet time for those carrying the memory of a loved one in their hearts. At Connolly McKinley Funeral Homes, we want you to know that you're not alone. While grief may change the way we experience the holidays, love endures in every cherished memory and shared story. If you need support, a listening ear, or guidance, please don't hesitate to reach out. Wishing you and your family comfort and hope this Christmas from everyone here at Connolly McKinley Funeral Homes.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, all over the place. Connor Halley is sitting in for Jason. He will join us actually at 4:20 and then be back on the show on Thursday. Until then, though, you got me, you got Declan Kruger, Kate the Great, keeping us on track on the streams. The text line is 1-833-401-1440, and the Jason Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use promo code Gregor50 and get a $50 free play for the month of December. Right now, we are going to go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. They've lowered their prices. Now you can get a coffee for only $1. Also, you can get a $9.99 Big Mac McChicken, filet of fish, or chicken nugget meal. $9.99 every day at McDonald's. You're not getting that anywhere else. That's a heck of a steal. If it's me, I think I'm going McChicken, Declan. Probably. You've had the filet of fish, right? You said you got into that a little bit.
Yeah, big filet of fish guy.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say that. I've had it before. It's not bad. It's just like fish sticks on a bun.
No, they could be worse.
Could be worse.
It could be worse. We're joined by Belle Fraser, covers the Utah Hockey Club down in Salt Lake City for the Salt Lake Tribune. Belle, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Trying to connect here. Might have a mute. I'll see if we can bring her on here.
Can you hear me now?
We have anyone muted, Devin. Okay, maybe we can work on that one in a second here. Of course, Edmonton Oilers taking on the Utah Hockey Club tomorrow, 7 o'clock puck drop. We'll have pregame coverage for you here on Sports 1440 with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson getting going at 6 o'clock. Declan, do we have any update there?
I'm looking here. No issues on this end. It does not look like.
Okay, well, perhaps, Belle, my apologies. If you can hear us right now, we'll try to get you on. If not, we might have to just give you a phone call and do it over the phone. This happens every once in a while with the old StreamYard, but easily correctable if needed. I'll just pass the phone over to Declan, and he can give Belle a call. Like you said, Edmonton Oilers taking on Utah tomorrow night down at Rogers Place. If you're going down there, probably going to be wild. New Year's Eve game. I'm sure the drinks are going to be flowing. You'll have to get out of there quickly and rush over to your party, wherever that might be. But the Utah Hockey Club right now, not too bad at all. Like playing in a really tough division. That's kind of the downfall of these teams stuck in the Central. You're behind Winnipeg. You're behind Minnesota, Colorado, Dallas. Good hockey clubs. Like, I don't think it'd surprise anyone if they're all playoff teams. That's going to be tough for Utah, St. Louis, Nashville, and even Chicago as they try to turn things around. We've got Belle on the phone. Belle, hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing very good. We appreciate you coming on. How was your holiday season?
It was great. Got to go home for the 3-day freeze and then right back at it in Utah. So excited for the second half of the season.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. I know Utah, looking at the schedule here, it's been a bit of a streaky season for them so far, winning 4 games in a row before dropping the last 3. They lost their first game coming back from the Christmas break, 4-1 to Colorado, which seems to happen. Colorado, as we know, can be a very good hockey team. But what has been your general assessment of the team so far, their first year in Utah?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at December specifically, it's been some of their best hockey of the year. Like you said, they started off pretty streaky. They were 3-0, 4-0 to start the season, and then really hit a slump, which you can expect. I think obviously it's technically a new franchise, and all of that stuff. But they are in the fourth year of a rebuild, and they're a really young team, and there's going to be ups and downs. But I think the consistency that they've played with in December has been great. And I mean, you look at the 3-game losing streak, which is quite unfortunate. They've had a tough time at Delta Center this season. They've lost 8 out of the last 10 at home, but are on a 7-game winning streak on the road. So we'll see how that carries over. But yeah, that Colorado game, it was a 1-1 game up until 5 minutes left in the third period. Colorado scored to take a 2-1 lead and then had 2 empty netters. And Dallas was a 3-2 game coming off a back-to-back to Anaheim where they blew a 4-1 lead. So in different ways, those games, Utah could have figured out a way to win. So I think for them, they're thinking, okay, we played 45 minutes of good hockey. We're going to need 60. But they're not letting it deflate them like they did earlier in the season. I think you're seeing a lot more resilience from them. And honestly, this kind of change in play kind of all started in the November 29th game against the Oilers when they lost 4-3 to them in overtime. Although that was a loss, I think that was when Utah realized that they could, hang with some of the better teams in the league, and they went and found some success after that. So it'll be interesting, a month later to see how they respond against, obviously, a firepower team.
Yeah, and a team that's probably looking to bounce back after a very frustrating loss to the Anaheim Ducks yesterday. I think the hockey club also lost to the Ducks recently, so maybe the Ducks are just a little bit better than we're giving them credit for. Playing in that Central Division, obviously it's going to be tough because you look at the standings right now. Winnipeg had that amazing start to the season. You got Colorado, who, as we said, can be very good when they're on. Minnesota's played great. Dallas. I mean, it does kind of make it tough for Utah to try to cling in. Obviously, top 3 spots for a potential playoff race, but even to get into a wild card, it's going to be a tough road for the next few years.
No, completely. And I think that's why dropping those games, the 4-point games against Dallas and Colorado this week, they took it hard because those points are really going to matter at the end of the year. But I also think it's given them a sense of urgency at this point in the season. I know a lot of people, February, January, those types of months feel like the dog days of the season. But for them, you drop a game now and that's in or out of the playoffs. So I think it's kind of lit in the fire for them and they don't have any time to kind of slowly come back from the holiday break or anything like that. Night to night, not all the players are looking at the standings, but as reporters you are, and it switches in 2 days who's in that second wild card spot. And there's an expectation inside the Utah locker room, especially with the players, that they're saying we expect to make playoffs this year. We expect to turn a corner. So that is the goal. It's not like they're, crossing their fingers and, oh, we don't know if we'll do it or not. I don't know if they'll do it or not, but they, that is what they're striving for and they believe they can. So I think you've seen that in their play. And this is a team that, can't take a break even if they want to. And Coach Torini talked about that yesterday. He said, you can't kind of recharge in the middle of a marathon. You kind of just have to keep going. So I think that's their mindset right now. And every game sort of feels like a playoff atmosphere for them because they are so desperate to keep climbing in their division.
Belle Fraser joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, talking Utah Hockey Club. She covers the team with the Salt Lake Tribune. You talked about kind of the record at home and just looking here, 5-7-4, while on the road, 11-6-2. Is there any reason you think for that? I know when teams are struggling at home, they kind of talk about going on the road and just playing a simpler game. Has that been a factor for this team?
Yeah, we asked about it a bunch, and for the first 5 losses at home, everyone was kind of saying it was a coincidence and an unfortunate coincidence, obviously, and there wasn't a real reason to it. But recently, exactly what you said, we talked to Nick Schmaltz, and he said sometimes when you're on the road, you do simplify a little bit, and you play a little bit looser, and you try to take the home crowd out of it, and that helps because the pressure is then on the opponent and not you. So I think that's definitely part of it. And then Coach had an interesting thing. He said that he feels like his team maybe gets a little too emotional at home. They get a little frustrated too easy. They let their opponents get under their skin a little bit easier at Delta Center because they care too much. These fans in Utah have been there since April when they had their welcome party, 3 days after the team was relocated. And, the outpour of support, I think, for them has been super impactful, and they really want to win for these fans. So it's not like they aren't good performances at home. I think 7 of the 8 losses have been by 1 goal. But yeah, I think coming from Coach, it sounds like they're maybe putting a bit too much mental pressure on themselves to win at home. But at the end of the day, it's the NHL. Everyone plays at home. You're going to play on the road. You have to learn how to win in any environment. And I think that's another growing pain of playing in front of a legitimate, loyal home crowd that's been pretty packed every night. And it's just another adjustment that this team is going through.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. I know to start the season, obviously a new team in town, people got behind it, and we heard the stories all off season. Ticket sales were going very well. That's continued into the regular season. The fan base still really embracing them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think if it's a Wednesday night game against a non-divisional opponent, it's not as packed. But, Ryan Smith has been so far a great owner for these guys. The players have nothing but great things to say about him, just how he's shown up for them. And the past few games he has opened, I don't know how much you guys know about Delta Center, but it's an NBA arena. So they're going to go through 3 years of construction in the off season to make it fit for the NHL. So for now, a lot of the upper bowl seats are obstructed views. But he opened up a lot of those seats. I think it was 2,000 tickets he gave out for free a couple of games ago for people to just sit in obstructed seats and pack the building. And that was the game, I think, against Vancouver that they came back and won 3-2 in overtime. So, people show up. I'm not from Utah, but ever since I got here, when talking to fans, talking to kind of locals, they said people are going to show up for this team because that's just what Utahns do. And they've proven themselves right. Delta Center is a loud place to play every night, even if, the obstructed seats are empty. So if this is how it is 35 games in, I can't imagine what it's going to be in, a year or 5 years from now.
Belle Fraser joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, talking Utah Hockey Club as they're set to take on the Oilers in Edmonton tomorrow night. That's a 7 o'clock puck drop. We'll have pregame coverage, 6 o'clock right here on Sports 1440. Belle, I have to ask you about Dylan Guenther, a guy who Edmontonians know very well, played his junior hockey with the Oil Kings, grew up in the area, has 16 goals on the season so far. His career high is 18. So assuming nothing goes wrong, he'll break that. He'll shatter his career high. What have you seen from him this season and just his growth?
I mean, he's automatic. It's really fun to watch. And like you said, his career high was 18 because he played 45 games in the NHL, I believe, last season after getting called up from the AHL. And the fact that this 21-year-old, forward started in the AHL last year and then comes into this season is a clear roster player and then signed an 8-year extension for $56 million right out of training camp because the management and the coaching staff so deeply believe that he is going to be a cornerstone player for this franchise, I think says what you need to know from the inside. And then from the outside, you see it in his points. He's second in points on this team, 32 complete points, just behind Clayton Keller, the captain of this team. And, I think you can sometimes, is there going to be a sophomore slump? Is, a full workload going to get to him? Is the pressure going to be too much being on that second line, being the main scorer there? And he has embraced it all. And I think part of it, I mean, the Edmonton fans know him from his time there, but he just is happy to be there. He's happy to be at the rink. He loves playing hockey, and it's kind of simple for him. It's like work hard, score goals, and be an NHL player. So I think that's been great. And another part of his game is it's so well-rounded. Obviously, he's known as a goal scorer in Utah, and he steps up in those clutch moments, but he's one of their best defensive forwards too. He's on the PK. He's on the ice with a minute to go in the third period, defending a lead or looking for an equalizer. So I think what makes him so valuable is, yes, the scoring, but just the way that he plays in all three zones and competes in all three zones. And that's, what's going to make that contract look like a bargain in 2 to 3 years.
I know there's been some injuries between the pipes, but overall, how has the goaltending been for Utah?
It's been good, honestly, since the injuries have happened. Connor Ingram came out of training camp as the starter. He was the starter in Arizona last year, and he really struggled out of the gate. He was coming off of a season where he was probably Arizona's all-star if you had to choose someone other than Clayton Keller. And it just wasn't clicking for him early in the season, and he got hurt. He got pulled in November 18th game against the Washington Capitals, I believe. And after that game, they listed him as day-to-day with an upper body injury, but it has been over a month. He's only skated with the team twice since then, and he hasn't been at practice in the last 2 weeks or so. So there really is not a concrete timeline on him. He's not traveling with the team. So Karel Vejmelka has assumed the starter's position, and he has been outstanding for them. He's really, stood up for the occasion. He has a 2.32 goals against average and .918 save percentage through 21 games, which speaks for himself. But, the confidence and calm he brings, I think, really trickles down the roster, especially because they have 4 defensemen hurt right now. So it really helps, I think, when you feel like your goaltender can hold it down for you. And then Jackson Stauber is Utah's backup right now. He was called up from Tucson. He spent the last 2 years in the Chicago Blackhawks organization between the AHL and NHL, and he's gotten 3 starts. He earned the franchise's first shutout. So, he's been good when Vejmelka's needed a rest. But yeah, Vejmelka's going to play tonight against Seattle. Utah's on a back-to-back. So we'll see how they manage it. They have 4 games in 6 days. So I imagine Stauber gets a game, but I don't know if it's going to be against Edmonton. But yeah, I think for losing your so-called starting goaltender at the beginning of the season, things kind of have worked out perfectly for Utah when Vejmelka has kind of turned into this star for them.
Bell, just one more question, and it's kind of looking into the future here. We're still a little while away from the NHL's trade deadline, but when you look at the assets that Utah has acquired, maybe not so much in 2025, but 2026, they have 3 picks in the first 3 rounds and a few 4th and 5th in 2027. Is there any position of need you think they might look to address via a trade?
I think that depends on if John Marino and Sean Durzi are back and fully firing. Those are 2 top defensemen. Durzi played 3 games this season before getting shoulder surgery, and John Marino's coming back from lower back surgery after getting traded to Utah and hasn't played a game this season. So I think if those 2 guys come back, it really fortifies your blue line. But right now they have 1 right shot defenseman, 2 to 3 guys a night are playing on their offside. And it's some guys who would usually be the 7th or 8th defenseman are getting playing time a lot, which is great. Guys have had the next man up mentality, but I don't think that's going to cut it in the playoffs. So I would say if Marino and Durzi aren't a full go by the deadline, I could see them looking for a right shot defenseman. But at the same time, Marino started skating this week. He's in non-contact. Durzi hasn't. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then, Utah's third line has struggled a bit recently. That's Michelli, Bukestad, and Krause. But I just don't see, I think those are players the organization believes in and hopes if they just keep them together, they'll hopefully click because they did last year. But they need a reliable scoring forward, a winger, middle 6, if those 3 don't get going or if their bottom 6 isn't consistent. But at the same time, I think it depends what position Utah is in at the deadline. Bill Armstrong is a very smart guy. He's smart with his assets, and I don't know if he's going to want to give away those futures if they're not really closing in on the playoff spot. So I think it'll all depend, where they are in the standings around that time and who's back from injury at that time too.
Bell, I know I said last question, but I do want to ask you one more if that's okay. Michael Kesselring, an Oiler prospect. I remember when he was traded, there was I'd say a bit of a minority, but some people were upset moving on from him. At the time, I thought, he's a prospect, and to get Bukestad, you have to give up someone. Unfortunately, that's who it was. But he's developed into quite the player for Utah so far.
Yeah, he really has. And, that is because of the injuries they've had. It's really unfortunate that they've lost a lot of their main guys, but it's given room for players like Michael Kesselring to really have a coming out party this year. He's on the second pair with Ian Cole right now. He's running the second power play unit. He has 15 points, I believe. He's on track to have a career year. And it's just the confidence he's skating with. He's playing in situations that he wouldn't have played in before. Durzi would probably be out there for 3-on-3 overtime and power play time and stuff like that. So he's just getting more reps. And again, with him, with a young defenseman, it's all about consistency. And coach says that about him, but he's really taken a big stride forward this year. And I actually talked to him yesterday about going back to Edmonton, and he had nothing but great things to say about being in Bakersfield and how much that helped him. But he said, as much as maybe you don't want to think about it like it does, you have a little more jump playing against your draft team that traded you because you kind of want to show where you are now. So I think, it was funny when Edmonton was in Utah. I was seeing people saying he was the one that got away and stuff like that. But who knows if he would have had this type of opportunity in Edmonton. I'm guessing probably not, to be a second pair defenseman. So everything happens for a reason, and he's a really big part of Utah's success right now, and we'll see what he's able to do against the Oilers this time around.
Absolutely. Well, Belle, thanks so much for doing this. We really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the season with Utah.
Thank you.
There you go. That is Belle Fraser, covers the Utah Hockey Club for the Salt Lake Tribune. Can't wait to get a name on that. The Utah Yetis, I think, is the best one. I think that's almost official. Low Tide likes something else, but I don't think it's going to happen. Declan, do you remember what Low Tide said he prefers?
I don't know, man. He says a lot. I think he said the Utah Utes, which is the college team in Utah.
You
right?
can't be
so you
that.
Can't use that. Yeah, I've always said the Utah Range. I thought that was cool. But I think it's best kept secret that it's going to be Yetis.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll see where they go with the logo. Will it be a a scary one? Will it be kind of cartoonish? We'll see. Lots of marketing opportunities, I think. That was Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's Dollar Coffee. You can get a $9.99 Big Mac, McChicken, Filet-O-Fish, or Chicken McNugget meal every day at McDonald's. Lots to get to still in this show. Sean Brown's going to join us from 3 till 5, former NHLer. Also, we're going to talk World Juniors with AJ Jackie back. We got Struddy, Gregor, Speck, Kevin Woodley. Tons to get to. 5 questions. Coming up next, though, we'll get to the football report. We'll talk a little NFL and NCAA. Tons going on right now. We'll do that with Declan Kruger coming up next here on the Jason Gregor Show on Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, as well as Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor, proudly delivering world-class hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada since 2016. I'm thrilled to announce our in-house production of tool components and accessories for faster turnarounds and enhanced versatility. The future is here at Cantor.com.
3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Let's rock. Edmonton's biggest New Year's Eve party is at On the Rocks.
Featuring Edmonton's #1 party band, the Barkhells.
The Barkhells. Get ready to dance the night away as we ring in 2025 in style at OTR.
Tickets include a 3-course meal, party favors, and bubbly at midnight.
This party sells out every year.
Oh, and if you don't have anyone to kiss at midnight, Marco is always available.
OTR's New Year's Eve party.
Tickets at ontherockyeg.com.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
The Boxing Week blowout is back at the Brick. Shop their extraordinary deals like 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seater chair. Save up to $2,500 off big screen TVs, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an extra $300 off kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Centre's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle,
Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Cross Mitsubishi customers like Family Focus Frank, First Time Fiona, and Smart Saver Sammy love Cross for different reasons. But what they have in common, they all wish you the best holiday season and New Year.
And so does everyone at Cross Mitsubishi. They're proving it with financing as low as 1.99%, a tire credit up to $1,000, and the legendary Mitsubishi warranty. All the best from everyone at Cross Mitsubishi. Drive your ambition. See Cross Mitsubishi in store for details. 9605 34th Ave and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
We're Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local and family owned. Downtown experience to speak for the town. With great Johnson, whoa. Striving to bring you a comfortable home. Weave Johnson, whoa.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you here. Kate the Great keeping us on the stream. 1-833-414-1440. That is the text line if you'd like to get in on the conversation. The Jason Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by playalberta.ca. Make sure you use promo code Gregor50 for a $50 free play in tomorrow's Lotto Max. $20 million. That'd go a long way. Use your game sense. You can get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Right now, we're going to get to the football report as we take a look at all that's going on here. The football report is brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where their rates never change. Need late night service or on the weekends? You don't need overtime charges. That's all you about the Legacy at legacyheating.ca. Of course, we do have Thursday or Monday Night Football. Yeah, it's Monday. Tonight, the Detroit Lions taking on the San Francisco 49ers. I touched on it at the beginning of the show. The 49ers, we all would have thought that this would have been a meaningful game, likely for top spot in the NFC this season. Just hasn't gone that way for them. For now, the Detroit Lions, they kind of need a win to set up a big matchup next week against the Minnesota Vikings. If they do that tonight, they'll both have 14-2 records. That would leave the Philadelphia Eagles in second spot with a 13-3 record, then the Rams at 10-6. And then the NFC South, kind of I'd say it's a bit of a chance, but likely the Bucs find a way to get this done. The Atlanta Falcons, with a win, could jump in there. Bucs control their own destiny, though, and I think they'll probably find a way to get it done. Detroit, some injuries this season, some big ones. Aiden Hutchinson going back. I know he's told the team if they can make the Super Bowl, he'll be good to go. We're going to wait and see what happens with Dave Montgomery. But the Lions are absolutely loaded offensively. Amon-Ra St. Brown, great. Sam Laporta, maybe not with the season we would have thought coming off his great rookie season, but still can put up numbers. Jared Goff, ball security, job security, and he might do it as good as anyone else. Declan, going into this game tonight, I think the Lions only 3.5-point favorites. So some people, thinking the Niners might linger. The Lions injuries could play a factor, but when you look at this one, I mean, I don't see any way San Francisco can get it done.
Yeah, like if I'm looking money, first of all, actually off the top, you called me Brandon Douglas. Not a big deal. Not feelings aren't hurt or anything. It's all good. Just pointing it out.
All right.
Yeah,
those are mixing together.
No, I know it's crazy. It's crazy. It's the holidays, all that. Yeah.
Wait till I say it's brought to you by Will Hawkers.
If you're looking for a money line bet, I don't think you can go with San Francisco on this one. Despite Detroit's injuries, despite San Francisco having the home field advantage, like San Francisco this year is just a team that kind of imploded every step of the way, right? And some things not their fault. Obviously, McCaffrey's injury out of their control. Their whole running back room getting hurt, out of their control. Deebo Samuel's play, it's just not near the standard it needed to be at. Brandon Ayuk as well when they're like, it's just so many things and this San Francisco team, I've talked about it, man, like they feel a little bit like the Oilers to me. Like they have a quarterback on his rookie contract about to, come up. They have all the talent in the world at so many different positions, offensively and defensively. Like it's just everything they need to be in the window, and they haven't got it done. And you have to feel for this San Francisco 49ers team, because you have to wonder, like, what happens next? Like, this was the best chance you were going to have, right? Like, this was the window here. These past couple of years, how many more after this? I don't know. This is the window you're in. And I know you have Super Bowl appearances, but Super Bowl appearances aren't wins, man. Like, you don't have hardware to show for it. So it's just a really tough spot to be in for San Francisco. And the Detroit Lions, phenomenal story. Like, love the Lions, love that they've been, I had to watch them go 0-16, and I had to watch Calvin Johnson be the best player on earth for however many years, and now they're here. It's really, really cool. Shout out Dan Campbell. But if you're the San Francisco 49ers, like, it is just such a brutal spot to be in.
You're right. Like, the window was there. Now, this offseason, Brock Purdy gonna get paid. You have to do it because he's shown he can be the guy.
Here's another one, man. How much do you pay Brock Purdy? Because, like, I'm not giving him $60 million a year. No way.
But you're got to give him north of 50, right?
I don't know, man. That's what I'm at. Like, how much would you honestly want to pay him? Truthfully,
I think 50-ish.
Yeah, really?
I mean, his numbers when they were healthy were pretty good.
I understand, like, that's the market, no question about it. But I don't know, man.
I learned it when Joe Flacco got paid after his run. Like, the Ravens had to pay him. Daniel Jones with the Giants.
Well, Joe Sean didn't have to pay him.
They decided to pay him.
Decided is the right word.
But when you look at it, like, and all of it is kind of when you get your deal, right? Because you're always going to be the next one up. Like, Joe Burrow got paid higher than Justin Herbert, and then Dak Prescott got the extension over Joe Burrow. I don't think anyone is going to say that you're giving Brock Purdy more than $60 million a year, no more than Dak Prescott. Like, I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's in that 50, like Jalen Hurts territory, 51 mil, like, I kind of think they have to. But as you mentioned, like, they just paid Ayuk. That's big. Debo has the injury. Christian McCaffrey has the injury. Like, and Debo's play, I think, has declined. He's not the guy he was 3-4 years ago. It's a team that, you might have been onto something there with the window opening. And then at that point, like, you got to have a good quarterback, and Brock Purdy will continue to have his haters, I think, until he goes out there and, puts up the elite numbers for a couple of years. But I don't know. I think you're better with him than without him. And let's say you don't pay him, like you franchise him, and you still haven't got the confidence to give him that 7-year, 50 mil, whatever it would be. You let him walk. Well, you haven't been really good at evaluating quarterbacks. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't the guy. Trey Lance was going to go down as, he should actually be looked at as one of the biggest busts in NFL history. It just hasn't worked for them as an evaluating. Like, they've done a great job bringing in really talented players, but what if they, what if they don't have Brock Purdy? What if they're like, oh, let's just take a flyer on a wide receiver? How different is this franchise? So I think you can't let a quarterback that's done what he's done walk out the door.
So, like, as it stands for next year, and I know contracts can be restructured, things can move around, players can get cut, this, that, and the other thing. But as it stands right now, the Niners for next season have $66 million in cap space. You're giving 60 to Brock Purdy, and I obviously agree with everything you said. Like, I know it's timing. I know you have to pay him, but when you just look at the bottom line, doesn't that seem a little crazy?
Well, I'm not giving him 60. I'm okay with 50 because I think that's just kind of what you have to do.
Yeah.
Purdy, what's he making this year?
$850K or something?
3 mil.
Is that what it is? 3
point, yeah, okay. 3.7. Well, total value, sorry. So average per year on the rookie contract, $934,000. Like, wow, what a pay increase. And, it's not like a situation where you're already paying him like 14 or whatever. So it's only a $36 million jump. This is a $49 million jump to your hit cap.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe, you look elsewhere. I don't know in free agency who's going to be out there. I don't know what the Vikings do with Sam Darnold. If I'm the Vikings, he's franchise tagged. He's not leaving the building.
Yeah, you definitely got a franchise tag.
But yeah, I don't know. If are you going to look to Kirk Cousins if he gets cut? Like, I don't know who's going to be out there.
That's another one, man. Like, what is Kirk Cousins' career? Do you think his career as a starter is over? Because I probably lean to say that it is.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to give him an opportunity to start.
They gave him $190 million in U.S. money at the age of 35 off of a significant injury.
Off the Achilles. And then draft Penix.
I saw a tweet that was like, Kirk Cousins' agent's suit belongs in the Smithsonian.
Well, he was signing 1-year deals for a long time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
with
he had,
Minnesota?
he had a bit of a stretch, but I'll have to pull it up here.
I'm pretty sure there was a run where he was just signing 1-year deal, cash as much as
But
he could.
he's made like 300 million or something.
Yeah. He's how you do it. As long as you can stay healthy and avoid those major injuries. But then again, like you said, 35, 36 coming off the Achilles, the Atlanta Falcons still paid big time money. And he underachieved big time.
Yeah, Kirk's contracts in Minnesota were so funny. 3 years, 84 million. 2 years, 66 million. 1 year, 35 million.
And all guaranteed, right?
Yes.
Because it was just such short term. Mostly guaranteed?
And all guaranteed. Every single penny was guaranteed. That's awesome.
Tiger says, I was the only guy who was cool with Saquon sitting for an extension. He should sit for his team, not the record. He's 100 yards away.
I think you got to go for it. But the problem with that is obviously the risk of injury, and also the point you made off the top. Like historians are always going to point to, the extra game or extra 3 games back when it was, 14. Like, so that, do you think it's worth it to have that hanging over you, even if you have the record?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's worth it. I think you go for it.
I would go for it. I think it would mean a lot to his team and everything like that. But I also think, if there's a couple, you get to halftime and he's at like 30 yards, who are they playing this week? Giants? Commanders? It's usually a divisional rival. Cowboys?
Cowboys, yeah.
If the Cowboys are like, we are not letting him get this record on us, and, after one half, he's at 20 yards, I might just say, Saquon, hit the bench. Good. You had a hell of a year. Your offensive player of the year, probably. But
sorry, it also is the Giants, by the way, because the Cowboys game just happened and we all watched that beatdown. So
yeah,
tough of us.
Man, he says, historically, this Vikings fan is super scared of a team with this record and a generational player. How come? Scared of the Vikings? But you are a Vikings fan. John of St. Albert says, Connor, update New Year's Eve at Ice District event now starts at 9 p.m. No Oilers watch party. Well, we'll look to confirm that. But John, you've been pretty correct with your insight. Triple C in a truck, known Eagles fan. Barkley going to set the record for the first half, then sit. It's the Giants. Yeah, that's kind of what I would like. Get the record and then take a break. And don't worry about the haters. If they want to whine that it did it in an extra game. Yes, it's not Saquon's fault. There's no, he didn't lobby for that extra game. You got to think, though, playing the extra games, going from 14 to 16 to 17, tough on the bodies. Players get paid for it, no doubt about it, but there is that more chance of injury. It was the same way. When LT broke, it was someone's record, maybe Gale Sayers. I think there's people saying he did it in an extra game, even though he didn't. He had more games. He did it in the same amount of time. People are always going to complain, but you'll sit atop the record book, so why not go for it? We'll take a break. When we come back, we can talk more football. Sean Brown's going to join us. We'll talk some Oilers, some World Juniors. Take a look around the NHL and a whole lot more here on the Jason Gregor Show. But let's get to a Sports 1440 update with Declan Kruger. Brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. The Canada-wide clearance is on now at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on a 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation. See more at gmcoffers.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, 3 games today in the NHL, the Rangers and Panthers, Predators and Jets, and Utah Hockey Club in Seattle. Those games going at 5, 5:30, and 6 respectively. NBA games tonight, 7 on the slate, 2 kicking off the action at 5, Chicago and Charlotte to take on the Hornets, and New York and Washington to take on the Wizards. The late games today will see Cleveland and Golden State, Philadelphia in Portland, and Dallas and Sacramento. World Junior Hockey Championship action. One final from earlier today was Slovakia over Kazakhstan 5-4 in overtime. Kazakhstan scoring 2 shorthanded goals to bridge the comeback in the third period. Right now, it's Germany up 2-1 over Latvia with just under 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. College football action. Music City Bowl. Iowa currently leading Missouri 24-21, under 2 minutes to go in the third in that one. And in the NFL, one game tonight, Detroit in San Francisco for the Monday Nighter, 6:15 kickoff for that one. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440,
A Stingray radio station.
broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Hockey is back,
And Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions assembled.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values, facing an electrical menace, call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Is it Riverside Motorsports?
No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong.
Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Checking off your gift list can go more smoothly when you give smoothies. From now till December 31st, buy a $30 Booster Juice gift card and gift yourself with any regular size smoothie for free. Try the new salted caramel smoothie made with vanilla oat beverage, vanilla frozen yogurt, and decadent caramel. It pairs magically with the salted caramel booster ball, bursting with score toffee bites, cinnamon, maple syrup, cashew butter, and more. Happiest of holidays from Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
Welcome 2025 with a bang at Rogers Place. It's the Oil Kings New Year's Day fireworks frenzy.
It all starts with the Battle of Alberta WHL style as your Edmonton Oil Kings face their arch enemies, the Calgary Hitmen.
It's a special 2 p.m. New Year's Day puck drop featuring a spectacular on-ice fireworks display after the game.
And at every home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is king-sized.
Oil Kings fireworks frenzy, Wednesday at 2. Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat.
Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
It feels like the cost of everything has been going up and up and up. That's why Encore's electricity rates are getting really low. With our rates falling lower, you can feel carefree about your bill.
A low rate means lower stress.
Switch to a new fixed-rate electricity plan with Encore by Epcor and save.
Get the lowdown
And stay carefree at encore.epcor.com/lowdown. Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll free.
It's the place for you, Honda. It's the place for service too. I love it. I love my Honda place. Would you buy it? You would get it, you would. It's the place.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. You can also get us on Instagram if you follow us on Sports 1440. Shout out to everyone streaming in, and shout out to everyone tuning in, of course, the old-fashioned way on Sports 1440. We do appreciate it. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use promo code Gregor50. You get a $50 free play with your deposit. Also, tomorrow is Lotto Max, $20 million. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great with you here in studio. We are joined now by former NHLer, former coach, GM owner in the AJ. Is that all of it?
That's all of it, yeah.
GM owner.
Part owner. There was 10
owner?
of us
Okay.
in Sherwood Park there, but yeah.
Majority owner?
No, absolutely.
We should just drop that in there. Sounds better.
Yeah, no. All we were doing was putting in money.
And all helping the kids, growing the game.
You know what?
Good for the community.
It was. It was nice to be. Met a lot of good people that did a lot of good things for the community. That being one of them. But yeah, it was fun. You know, I wasn't overly involved at that time either because I was still playing hockey. So I was playing over in Europe. So by the time things got going, I went to Europe, and then by the time I came back, they were never good enough to have a playoff run. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Doing pretty good this year, though.
Yeah, they got a good program there.
Pretty good team.
You know, they got a young, fast, entertaining group. So, you know, good on Adam Surgery there. He's done a really good job of recruiting and creating a culture. And, you know, hopefully they can kind of build off that. I know in the community there, it's tough, right? You got the Oilers, you got the Oil Kings. It's not an easy market, right? And I think at times, you know, they get some fans and at times they don't, but, you know, they got a lot of prospects and potential players that have a lot of upside. It would be kind of fun for the fans to get behind that.
Yeah.
And I think too, the more, I know they have some local kids. I mean, I think that's the key to any of those types of franchises is to, you know, have as many local kids as you can, right? Because then you get their friends and grandma and grandpa and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. Former NHLer Sean Brown in for the next 2 hours here on the Jason Gregor Show. How was the Christmas holidays? I know your son came back up from playing down south.
Yeah. No, it was really good. I really, you know, I think we're all at different stages of our life, right? And, you know, I think back to, you know, when the kids were younger and how magical that was, you know, when, you know, they would wake you up at, I don't even know, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, all excited. And, you know, it's just to see the joy and the excitement on their faces when they're opening up their gifts and the real belief in Santa.
Yeah.
Right. And now obviously they're older and, you know, it's still magical, you know, but they got a lot more going on in their life as well too, right? I mean, he's been away from home for a while now, and you know, when they come back, you know, as much as you know they want to see you want to spend time with him, and he wants to spend time with you. Now he's got a girlfriend and he's got some buddies and stuff like that. But it was a nice, you know, you try not to have too much expectations on him.
Yeah,
coming back, but you know, I thought, or you know, my wife and I were talking about it when he left. It was really special and nice. He came back. He spent a lot of time with us. His girlfriend came over. Went to an Oiler game, actually. We went to the Boston game as a group. We went out to eat before and spent a lot of time. You know, and then in the morning it's still special. The kids get excited. You know, and my wife she does a super job. She spends a lot of time, you know, in the gifts and the thought behind it.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, to be honest with you, play a big part in it. So it's a little bit special for me because I don't even know what they get.
Surprise for you on Christmas morning. And you were saying they did pretty good for you, hey?
Yeah, it was.
You missed last week, right? We were on last week.
Yeah,
you were doing family stuff, but we talked about our gifts.
Yeah.
So you missed it. So let us know, what did you get?
Yeah, so I got it was, you know, the best Christmas for me. I don't really expect anything or really want anything. It's obviously the focus is on the kids, but yeah, I just, you know, I got a lot of things that it's not that I got a lot of things. It was just, I never thought I would get them.
Yeah.
And you know, I guess you know, in Christmas, you probably, you know, get things that you wouldn't normally spend money on because I definitely wouldn't have spent this money on myself. But my son's a big Star Wars fan. And obviously, you know, myself being kind of one because I would always watch him with him and stuff. So anyway, I got the Millennium Falcon. I got the collector's edition. You know, it was I wasn't expecting that. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of you know, I've been in there before because my son, you know, obviously at a young age was into Lego.
We're talking Lego store.
Lego store.
Now, pre-assembled or did you make it?
Oh no. Well, there's the question, right? That's the question I'll throw out there. It's going to be a collector's item.
Yeah.
Do you put it together or do you keep it in the box?
You got to put it together, don't you? If it's in the box, it's just a bunch of material.
Well, it's in a, yeah, exactly.
Did you put it together?
No, it's 7,500 pieces, right? So that's going to take some time. So I don't want to have until I make the decision and the commitment to actually putting it together, because I don't know, I kind of thought, it was something that we could do and put it together, because usually we put puzzles and things like that, together as a family and spend time together. But, we didn't get a chance to open it or put it together. We just, he's kind of like, Dad, I don't know. Do we keep it in the box? And I feel like I'm a big collector. Like I have lots of different sticks and jerseys and different things that I've collected over the years. And, probably some of it, well, a lot of it is probably worth money, but for me, it's not. I never collected it for that reason. And I've always left my stuff out. And the way our house is set up, that, the kids that, from a young age could always play with the jerseys, play with the stick. I was like, hey, don't wreck it, but you should touch it and
Take
feel it and wear it. And, I thought that was more important for the kids, and who knows where, where that could go with them. And so the same thing with this Star Wars figure here is like, I agree. I mean, I think I have to put it together. I want to see how big it is, because it's heavy. It's a lot. The box is heavy. So I'm assuming it's quite the size. So that was pretty cool. I got that from my son. And then my wife bought me the retro old school Jordans that, I've always looked at online, but obviously I don't even know how much they are.
Yeah.
But they're quite pricey. And the same thing. It's like, well, do you wear them? Well, you got to wear them. I've wanted them ever since I was a kid.
Special occasions, maybe.
Well, I mean, you're not
in the summer only.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like we run around in the mud anymore anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I take, we take care of our stuff. So yeah, I was really excited to get those, because I've always wanted them, but I would never buy them. But I feel like that's the ultimate for me. Like those were the shoes that I really, really wanted.
Yeah.
And then my daughter got me, this is somewhat embarrassing, but I thought it was really cool, a Hulk Hogan little figure. It comes with a belt and a rip-off shirt and blah, blah, blah. So I always kind of thought that's kind of cool. So we have an office at home that, I have lots of, different hockey stuff and just little, obviously now potentially a put together Millennium Falcon.
The Jordans. Now, I've seen a lot of NFL players getting the custom cleats.
So cool.
I like the look. I feel like it makes players look slower. That's just something that I see. When you played in the NHL, did you ever have like an inkling to customize your skates? Do some blue and orange? Like Cody Ceci had a little blue and orange in his skates last year.
Okay.
But not many guys really do that in hockey. Is it just the thing, I don't want to stand out, the hockey mentality type?
Well, I think it's definitely that had something to do with it. Why bring extra attention to yourself when, I think that's just how we grew up, whether celebrating a goal and times have changed. And I never thought about it, as early in my career, because just no one ever did it, right? The most outside the box thing that someone would do, and the only one that really did it was, I think, Gretzky, right, with the blue blades, right? And so remember when Bauer came out with those black blades, right? And so I was wearing those, and then someone told me that I look slow with the black blade, so I immediately changed. I immediately changed those, but I think it's amazing now that all these athletes have their different shoe companies and have their own brand, and it hasn't quite crept into the NHL as much as it maybe has in other sports. I think that obviously the sticks are a big deal.
Yeah.
But I it's just a matter of time. We've all seen those little, I don't even know what they would have, like a sticker, right, where you can kind of customize it. Well, actually in the World Juniors, different players throughout that tournament have had the Canadian flag and stuff like that. I do have a pair of Willie O'Ree's. They came out with those special skates during Black History Month that I have, that I think are just like I think they're just amazing. And they're a nice collector's edition. Really cool. So yeah, I mean, I would love to see it. I think the NHL, I don't know if it's Bar Down or one of those companies, that post a bunch of different stuff. I have seen them make up mock-ups of different cool skates.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I think it would just add to it, and we've been down to the States or in different sports stores, and you see the old school retro Jordan cleats and
Yeah.
that looks amazing. They got I was looking, my son, we got him a set of golf clubs and a golf bag and stuff. And when I was there, they got the retro Jordan bags.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I kind of like all that retro stuff, bringing it all back.
Yeah. I mean, and you see it all the sports,
Yeah.
my cleats, my cause, and all that sort of thing. And maybe it's just NHL as a whole kind of stay in their lane. Everyone doesn't want to be a distraction or anything like that, but maybe it gets new eyes on the league.
Well, it's just that I would like to think that it's, maybe not, I didn't grow up with it, and, maybe that's something you didn't grow up with, but it's definitely something that I look at my son and that age group, and that's what they're all about now. Right. And, the games come a long way marketing wise, and they've done enough. I guess Austin Matthews is a guy that is probably, I think, the most creative that I see on social media, where, he'll have the outline of the landscape of Toronto on his skates.
Yeah.
Or he'll do different things with his stick. And a lot of it is for a great cause too. It's a great way to create, some money for different charities and foundations, right?
We talked about this one going back 3-4 years ago. I tweeted about it and actually got kind of popular, but wouldn't it be cool for a weekend or whatever it was, instead of the last name being in English, it could be from, for Drysdale in German. His last name's German. And who else on the team? Any player, wherever they're from, if Zach Hyman wanted to do Hebrew. There was those custom Ethan Bear jerseys that were so cool. And I thought, why doesn't the NHL take advantage of this and do it? We saw Notre Dame playing college football. They don't put names on the back of their jersey unless it's a bowl game, I believe. Yeah. And one of the players was of Asian descent and had it in like that. I think for a weekend, and then you auction the jerseys off.
Yeah. Well,
you're printing money here for charity.
Well, you look at the salaries and the money and what these athletes are making, right? So I think it's just a matter. I think those are great ideas and great marketing ways of selling, a jersey.
Yeah.
Right. So I agree. I think it's just a matter of time. You look at, the amount of money that they can raise and for the charities and different reasons they could do it for. It makes sense to me. And it just kind of, I guess, for a guy like, Ethan Bear or anyone, Zach Hyman, to have, that part of history on their back. I remember when they came out with the Willie O'Ree skates, and I was like, wow, could you, I called the Bauer guy right away when I seen him, and I was like, is there any chance, I obviously don't play, but is there, I think the idea is great. Is there any chance I can get a pair of skates? And I was lucky enough to get a pair. And I thought, wow, this is pretty special to have a collector's item that means a lot to you. So I just would have to think, and the NHL's come a long way again. That it's probably just a matter of time. They have to continue to create ways that, with these guys making the salaries that they're making, Juan Soto making so much money. That amount of money. I mean, the guy that's calculating, okay, well, if we give him this, we must be making twice as much of that. It'd be interesting to know the numbers and how they actually break that down. But it's more than just selling tickets and getting people in to watch.
Yeah. Just to do things to make it fun. MLB had the Players Weekend when they could. Yeah. They did the custom or different jerseys, and they still do that. Now. Yeah. Didn't love the Jays look this past year. Didn't hate it, but it's just little things they can do to kind of make it fun for a weekend.
It's just something different for a short period of time that just, and like there are some that you're like, maybe that doesn't hit home with me, but to someone else it does. But there's also, other retro jerseys that, are quite, I love them almost better than the originals, right? Yeah. I was, in the league when they, the Oilers came out with, was it Todd McFarlane, the comic? Yeah. He came out with that blue, that was a pretty cool special jersey. But at the time when he came, it was something new. So anytime you introduce something new for whatever reason with hockey, we always are like, oh, whoa.
Bring back the retro.
Don't get too excited. Yeah. Don't say too much. Don't do too much. But like I said, you got to be happy with where it's at and the fact that it's changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Titan says, just like jazzing up your child player, you get the flashy skates. I wouldn't mind seeing NHL players with some different skates.
Yeah.
Fedorov went white.
Oh, that was
white
cool
Nikes.
when they had the Nikes.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember I wore the Nike helmet and I lost it. I wish I had it because it was the old traditional, Bauer.
Yeah.
But it had the Nike logo and oh man, did I love that helmet, and I lost it somewhere. And I mean, you know what? It was nice too, because at that time, and I'm sure they still do now, when you wore Bauer, because Bauer was associated with Nike, or what was it? iTech came in with their helmet. A lot of those companies, for you to wear, CCM, for a lot of them to get, they want you to wear their product, and a lot of the reps would offer you different, if they were associated with Nike, we were able to order, we could get a catalog and we were able to order, Nike clothes and stuff. So,
oh, really?
Oh yeah. So when I played, so it was an easy transition for me. I love Bauer, and Bauer was with Nike. So the rep guy was always like, hey man, if you want to order some Nike stuff, I had more Nike stuff than you can believe. Like, I wore Nike, my wife wore Nike, my brothers, my family, kids on my street wore Nike. I always thought that was kind of cool. And it was like Christmas when you would order, because you weren't sure when it would come. And all of a sudden, you'd have a big parcel, a big box show up. And now you get, you kind of forgot what you ordered. And I actually ordered, which was pretty cool. And I wish I kept them, because I never wore them, because when you look at something in a catalog, you think, oh, you're not trying this stuff on. Right. So you're kind of like, oh, that looks cool. I think that would be nice. And I ordered the LeBron James's first sneaker, and they looked good. And then I was like, oh, they don't look good on me. But I kept them anyway.
Yeah.
And a lot of my stuff I just gave to my dad, and he didn't wear them. And so someone's got a nice pair of, LeBron James brand new. But imagine if I kept those, how cool that would have been.
Yeah.
So
I bought some Jordans once. I'm like, these are nice. Not for me. They're on other people maybe, but I couldn't pull them off.
It's tough now, because they've they're pretty creative, and I have some shoes. I'm getting older now. They're a little risky, because now they, whether they're shiny, they can be a little much.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like. I like the color. I like it a little much, but you can, sometimes you can go overboard. But how was your Christmas? What is anything exciting for you?
No. Got some gifts. Got some great gifts. We got a new TV for my parents, which now we just need to get a sectional upstairs. We'll have the upstairs living room complete. We got a little video game console. It's like yay big.
Yeah.
And you was watching on YouTube, a couple inches. You just plug it into the back of your TV.
And you get the old Super Mario and Donkey Kong. Oh, that's so cool.
A lot of Mario the last few days, Ashley and I. But no, it was good. Passed the baby around. Got a lot of people that had to hold the kids, so they were happy about that. And it was pretty standard. Pretty standard, but good. Nothing crazy happened. Just quickly, this coming down, the Dallas Stars were fined $100,000 for practicing on Boxing Day.
I read that yesterday. Yeah, they had a situation there where, what was it? I think they had an optional skate, and that's funny because maybe even as an athlete, as a player, you might be aware of the the collective bargaining agreement and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. But as a young guy, you're not arguing that one.
Yeah.
Right. And optional skate doesn't mean optional for a rookie. Right. So you're going no matter what. So
they're not paying the fine. Right. So
no, exactly. So we had lots of those. I remember back in the Glen Saylor days, like, we spent a lot of time at the rink, and I'm sure it was outside of the CBA, but I wasn't going to say anything, and neither was anyone else.
Just be there.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Jason Strudwick, talk a little bit about the Oilers as well as the World Juniors. Still to come on the show. AJ Jackiebeck, Jason Gregor, Mark Spector, Kevin Woodley, 5 questions, and a whole lot more. Stick around. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Delicious news. The McDonald's meals you love are now $9.99 every day. Grab your faves like the Big Mac, 6-piece McNuggets, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish with medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99 each plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Edmonton, Alberta, and the surrounding area, prices exclude delivery.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The Boxing Week blowout is back at the Brick. Shop their extraordinary deals like 60% off sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair. Save up to $2,500 off big screen TVs, up to 25% off bedroom and dining room furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an extra $300 off kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates, Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
New year, new you. Let's kickstart 2025 by making better life choices, starting with quality pizza from Papa John's. Right now, get 25% off any regular menu price pizza with promo code BETTER25. A deal so good, it might just count as self-care. But hurry, resolutions wait for no one. Offer ends January 5th. Order now at papajohns.ca with promo code BETTER25. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some Papa John's.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Boxing Week deals are on at Canadian Tire. Save up to 35% on vacuums and more. Sale ends January 1st. Conditions and exclusions apply.
Dennis here from Weiss Johnson. Are you looking to get into the trades or have a kid graduating high school wondering what to do? Weiss Johnson is looking for career-minded people to work for us. Opportunities truly are endless. Become a service technician, gas fitter, refrigeration technician. Install residential or commercial heating and plumbing systems, fireplace installations or service, duct cleaning. We are the company where you can learn all aspects of the trade and pick which career path to take. We have an awesome benefits package and offer school reimbursement too. Visit wjcareers.com today.
The Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation Facebook and YouTube. Connor Halley, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger with you here. Kate the Great keeping us going on the stream from the EWELL Studios here in West Edmonton Mall. EWELL Studio, where the real power play is to shop. EWELL.ca for all your electrical needs 24/7. EWELL.ca is your partner in power. Right now, we'll talk some Oilers, some World Juniors, and a little bit of the Christmas holidays with our next guest, Jason Strubig, in the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease a Volvo XC90 from 0% and save $4,500. Also save up to $12,000 on remaining 2024 demo vehicles, only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Jason Strudwick joining us from the mountains somewhere. Struddy, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah. Everything's really good. How about you guys?
Yeah. Things are not too bad. You hitting the slopes a little afternoon, or are you going to wait till tomorrow morning?
No, we're just rolling in. So I'm going to get in there tomorrow morning. Kind of, I wear the pretty elite downhill skier, so I'll have the tight gear on. The Sun Ice, I believe the kids call it. I'll be, you'll notice, you'll know when I'm on. It's like a rocket going down the mountain.
Do you risk the, what is it, the double black, or are you, what is it, green? How does it go? Are you challenge yourself or what?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do. I usually, I try not to get on the double black. Sometimes I get lost and I end up on it. But I don't mind a good black diamond, but I don't need to be like, I don't need a hero. I don't need to be in one of those videos where guys are going down from ledge to ledge. Like, I like a hard blue or a black diamond, but not the double black. Like when they start talking off trail, that's where I get off. I don't need to. I just want to come home in one piece. I'm not a hero, right? I just want to look good. I kind of want to look like you on the dance floor, Brownie, right?
The one thing that
yourself with your eyes closed.
the one thing that concerns me, Struddy, because I've seen your legs and they used to be big and they're little. They're not so big anymore. So you tuck down in that position of the athletic position. Can your legs handle that?
Deep squat. I call it a deep squat position.
Can you handle it though?
You never had. You never had that with your stride. You skated. You and Chris Dingman were racing for the shortest stride I've ever seen. So I get down deep in it, and then I just hang on to that, right? And I tuck it. I tuck it like Alberto Tomba.
That reference went over my head, but Struddy, I hope you have a good time. Stay healthy out there. Want to ask you about the Edmonton Oilers, 2 games back from their little Christmas vacation. I can look past the loss to the Kings in overtime. That first game back, whatever. Kings are a good team, but to me, the loss to the Anaheim Ducks when you had the 2-goal lead twice, inexcusable. Not good enough 5-on-5. What did you make of the Oilers' little vacation down to Southern California?
Well, let's talk about the vacation I had before, and I felt long term that the 4 days off, completely off, would be really good for the team. Unfortunately, I think short term it does affect you. I remember even just getting 2 days off and coming back the third day and wondering if am I in shape? And I wasn't even like drinking or going hard or anything. I was just doing nothing, and I'd come back and feel terrible after the Christmas break. So, for these guys, they had 4 complete days off, which I think they needed. They had a long, tough year last year. They're hoping for the same thing. So long term is good. Unfortunately, short term, we kind of saw the results of that. I think they had a ton of jump and weren't able to sustain that jump. So now, you're unable to get that 2 extra points in Anaheim. Would have been 3 out of 4 is good. Instead, you get 1 out of 4, and now you're coming back playing against Utah, and they're a good young team. So I think that it's unfortunate, but I understand the thinking behind it by Knobloch.
So probably could ask Brownie this question as well, but for you talk about having a couple of days off and could be tough to get back. Isn't it an advantage to play 2 games consecutively, or would you rather play 1, have a day off, light skate, then get back after it?
After the 2, I don't know. I always like to have a hard skate. Like I did always feel better after Christmas, you'd have a game. And you'd feel better, but then I liked a hard skate. Like I love practicing. I think I'm maybe one of the few NHL players in history. Maybe I was only good at practice. That's why I liked it. But I enjoyed it. So I think though the fact now they've had 1 or 2 practices in 2 games, they'll definitely be back to normal tomorrow.
For myself, I agree with you, Struddy. I think anytime when you get some much needed rest, you want that, but. You definitely have that itch to kind of get that good skate, that good sweat, that good burn to get that feeling back again. So, I enjoyed the same thing. And I think it's tough because I think when, you play the game, Struddy, you kind of mentally have to get yourself in a mindset of the grind. And then, you kind of get into it and then there's a necessary break. And then, to get yourself back into it, especially after, a holiday where you are probably drinking and eating grandma's old recipe and you got family and like you're completely off your routine, right? And now you need that little reality check, to kind of get back in that grind. So, is that just the case? I mean, I think it goes both ways. You come back into the holiday and you could very well pick up where you left off, or you could go into the holiday and come back and you got a couple, you struggle a little bit.
Well, I think we have to trust this team. They know what it looks like when their game's good. You know how we know that? They made it to within 1 or 2 shots of winning the Stanley Cup last year against a really battle-hardened team, the Florida Panthers. So we have to trust them. They were playing good hockey prior to the break. I mean, I don't know how anyone could dispute that. They were playing well and winning a game in different ways, and areas of the game that we were maybe wanted to see perk up have started to perk up. Like you look against Anaheim, they were 5 for 5 on the penalty kill and 2 for 3 on the power play. So those are things that we were concerned about earlier in the year. The problem was a 5-on-5 game. And so, that's a surprise, especially when you're facing the Ducks. So I think Oilers fans need to take a deep breath. I get you're disappointed, but you can't win 82 games a year. You can't bring your best energy every single game of the year. But I think Knobloch invested 4 days of rest for his team, and he made that investment. That'll pay off later in the year, and trust them because they've shown that they can be trusted. They've shown us what they're capable of.
Is there would there be any concern with Jeff Skinner in the way that he's playing? Is this something, I mean, we've seen it before with Pekka being in Edmonton and not having a great regular season and then having, a great playoff run. Here's a guy that's played 1,000 games. He hasn't played in the big moments, but is he a guy that, like, with his skill, we were all excited when they picked him up, the depth and the potential that he has. Is this just a situation where we just have to be patient with him, or is this a situation where he's just not in the cards for whatever reason? He just doesn't seem to be able to find his game. But do you see it turning around at any point?
Well, Ryan Rashog made a really good point in our podcast last night. He's like, let's look at Connor Brown's season last year. Now, slightly different because Connor was hurt the prior year, but his regular season was really hard, right? Really hard for him to go through, and and the fans were trying to support him, but it wasn't what he wanted. And then when playoffs hit, all of a sudden Connor Brown showed up, and he became an important member of that third line. So Jeff Skinner, it's not like he's making $10 million. He's making $3 million. He does have a no movement clause, but the upside in this player for me is hard. You can't deny it, right? He can score. He's got skill. The problem is when Kane comes back, where does he fit in? Right? So Nuge, I can't see Nuge or Hyman leaving McDavid's wings. It's clear that McDavid likes him there. I can't see it changing. Then you got Draisaitl and Arvidsson. That one seems destined in the stars. Paul Colton is surprised me for sure about how well he's played there. Hasn't put up a lot of points, but it's clear that Trent 29 likes playing with him because he gets pucks back and can make some plays. But when Kane comes back, does Kane get a chance there? But if he doesn't, Kane now drops down to your third line, and that pushes someone down. Then does Brown get pushed down the third line? Where does Skinner fit in? And then is he a bottom six player? I don't see him as that. I don't see him as your kind of, that think of Henrique, the janitor, and Brown last year. Can he play like those three guys for 2 months? I'm not sure that's him. So if he's on your top six because there's some depth there, and he's on your bottom six, where does he fit in? So I've been on record, and I feel strongly about this. I think there'll be a coming together of both parties. Say, this didn't work. Let's find a solution to this. And he'll go somewhere he has more opportunity to play. Because the coach is telling us how he feels about this player right now by the way he's limiting his ice times.
Jason Strudwick, former NHLer, co-host of the Got Your Back podcast, joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Str, I just want to go away from the Oilers. I saw this story pop up today. Jonathan Toews hasn't played hockey in a couple of years here. Gone through some things. Went to India, did a bit of a cleanse there, wants to get back into hockey. Do you think this is something that realistically we could see happen? And if so, where do you think would be a landing spot for Toews?
He wants to come back and play in the NHL?
He wants to make a comeback and play in the NHL. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first I've heard of it. I'm not going to lie. I've been driving the last 4 hours singing 90s country tunes at the top of my voice and doing a good job of it. So I haven't really been scanning it. So
it's a crazy story, though, right?
Yeah, I love Jonathan Toews as a player, and I'm glad to hear he feels healthy enough that he's able to come back. But he hasn't played in a long time. In the world of hockey, that is like decades. So I have a hard time believing he can come back and have a big impact for a team. And again, I love Jonathan Toews, but after being out that long, man, I think that's a very, very, very long road for him to climb to be an impact player.
Well, especially does anyone know what was it that he was dealing with? Does anyone know?
I thought it was some autoimmune thing, but I mean, to be honest, I haven't really thought about him for a while. I thought he was, he was trying to get healthy, and then he was that was it. I didn't know he wanted to come back. So this is news to me right now. But, I think about when I'd been a couple of years removed. Yeah, sure, I looked good when I was on the beach and stuff, but I wasn't NHL ready to play hockey, right? Like that's a whole nother level to compete. And then the game continued to get faster, and your reflexes, your timing, like all that stuff. And you're getting older. It's not like he's 23 years old, guys.
Yeah. It was the GQ article. The quote was, I haven't spoken to a lot of people about this, but it's definitely still in there. I've talked to a lot of guys that are done, and a lot of them will say that the desire to be on the ice competing and to be in the locker room never goes away. It's just something you have to accept when it comes. So there's that. But at the same time, I think there's a big part of me that really wants to give it my all to get back on the ice and see where it takes me. So,
Struddy, getting back to the Oilers, where do you see, you talked about Skinner not fitting down on, he's got to be probably on your top six. You got Derek Ryan, that is the ultimate, probably, veteran Swiss Army, he's the ultimate security blanket, right? He wins draws, he's reliable. But at what point in time do you think we see Noah Phillips?
Yeah, you know what? Derek Ryan's been a great Oiler for, since he's arrived here, and he does, he's still very competitive. But Phil is just, he's just the younger version. And that, unfortunately, what happens in the NHL is that they find someone who's a little bit younger, maybe a little bit quicker, and can maybe try to take over your spot. And whether he takes it over, in January 15th or March 15th, eventually Phil will be that guy taking the spot. So I'm guessing they'd want to see him maybe for 2-3 weeks prior to the trade deadline to see what they have. So what is that? Maybe that's a call up in February, some point to see what he looks like at that time. And maybe even Savoy too, test drive him, see what you got. And not so much for, can he come up and play for us right now, but is he an option, a depth option, if we have injury issues in our top six in the playoffs?
Struddy, thanks so much for doing this. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and stay safe on the slopes, okay? None of those double black diamonds.
I'll stay clear of them. Brownie, work on the knee bend. Deep knee bend. Spin a chair.
Struddy, you said you drove for 4 hours. Are you allowed to drive, or are you in the passenger seat?
Oh, no, I'm driving. I got control of the music. I've got a country playlist that, honestly, is incredible. It's absolutely, it's elite. Listening to this playlist is like watching McDavid stick handle. It's that elite.
How many Slurpees?
No Slurpees. Too cold. So I just had a couple Dr. Peppers and a half a pack of darts to stay awake.
See you, Struddy.
See you, boys.
There you go. We won't even get into the Giants. We should have, but we won't, because what are they doing winning football games? Don't get it. But there you go. Jason Strudwick, co-host of Got Your Back, also former NHLer, one of the good guys, but I'm a little worried for him.
I am.
He's not a kid anymore.
He's not the same guy, and I've seen his legs, and I've seen bigger legs on a chicken.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I worry about those little sticks in that athletic position. Right. They're going to burn. They're going to start to shake. Can he handle it? Right.
And what if he hits a jump?
Yeah. His upper body. I don't know if his legs can handle that anymore. So I guess time will tell.
Phil says, "Don't kid us, Struddy. You're on the deck at the lodge in front of the fire with a dart and a martini, hold the vermouth, sharing that dart with Will Ferrell." Even Struddy said, "Have a pack of darts." Maybe he picked that up.
Yeah. Who knows? If Struddy smoked, Struddy would be the only guy that I know that smokes. Who smokes? No one I know smokes.
Yeah, I'm down to a couple few.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't call them out on air, but
okay. Yeah. Why is it looked at? I mean, we all know that it's not healthy, but it's also looked at dirty.
Yeah.
Like if I see someone smoking, I'm just like, ugh.
How many people do you know that vape now?
True.
The vape that's kind of taken over, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just, I don't get it. It's not for me.
Me neither. Clean living.
Try to.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we got Cam Tate's 2-minute warning and a whole lot more. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Sans Jason Gregor. He will join us at 4:20. Connor Halley, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great with you here on Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Checking off your gift list can go more smoothly when you give smoothies. From now till December 31st, buy a $30 Booster Juice gift card and gift yourself with any regular size smoothie for free. Try the new salted caramel smoothie made with vanilla oat beverage, vanilla frozen yogurt, and decadent caramel. It pairs magically with the salted caramel booster ball, bursting with score toffee bites, cinnamon, maple syrup, cashew butter, and more. Happiest of holidays from Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goal. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Are you watching the interest rates these days? Of course you are. Paying less interest leaves money in your pocket. That's why St. Albert Dodge is happy to tell you that right now they have 0% financing on virtually all new 2024 models. Hundreds to choose from: Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer, Dodge Durango, and Hornet, Ram 1500, 2500, 3500, all with 0% financing. Why pay interest? Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Mental health care can't wait until I'm 18.
That's why CASA Mental Health provides free mental health services for children and youth. CASA's specialized services empower kids to thrive, helping those in the missing middle where mental illness is too complex for just community care or doctors alone and shouldn't need a hospital. Donors like you can help CASA continue expanding its circle of care to more kids.
Help build the future of mental health care for kids and youth in Alberta.
Level up for kids' mental health at casamentalhealth.org.
It's RV fun with RV City. The brand new 2025 Jayco RVs are arriving, so get ready for some awesome adventures. These RVs are packed with everything you need, but if you're looking for even better deals, RV City is clearing out all remaining 2023 and 2024 Jayco RVs. Find fantastic offers on all travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, travel vans, and more. Get away from it all with RV City in Morinville and Nisku. RV City, generations of family fun.
50. Thank you for tuning into the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate you guys joining us today on the show. The text line 1-833-401-1440. Sean Brown, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great, along with me, Connor Halley. Gregor will be back on Thursday. Right now, though, we are going to get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in projects, service, tag, and solar for commercial or residential. Contact them at actionelectrical.net. Cam Tate, of course, longtime journalist in our city, always wanted to do radio. Now with the powers of technology, he's able to. He joins us every Monday and Friday. Here it is, Cam Tate's 2-minute warning.
New Year's Eve has always been special for one reason: hockey game, Canada versus the USA. Now some of my closest friends are Americans, like Les Hayes, a former Vietnam vet who taught kids with disabilities phys ed in Los Angeles. Lee's had an old Volkswagen bus and enjoyed an adult beverage while whizzing down the Santa Monica freeway. Me, too. Les didn't like to waste time, so he drilled a hole in the floorboard of the van and always had one of those. You know what I'm talking about. Long plastic horns, hole in the floorboard, right? Long plastic horn, right? No need to pull over when nature calls, right? Sorry. Okay, sorry. And I have other really good friends who are Americans, but when it comes to hockey, and Americans in Canada, and New Year's game, a highlight for the World Juniors Hockey Championships. Well, do I need to say any more? Because for me, hockey is our sport in Canada, man, and we're darn good at it, darn good. And a competition between your next-door neighbor, always a good idea, right? It can start off fairly small, like who has a better-looking lawn or a new car. It's fun, right? But New Year's Eve, Canada versus the U.S. This is serious, man, really serious. For me, whenever Canada has a hockey game, I don't care if it's U6 or the World Juniors or Olympics, I'm dialed in. You kidding me? You know. It's interesting. When I was a kid, the big hockey rivalry for Canada in the 1970s was, of course, Russia. In that epic interview after Game 4 in Vancouver of the Canada-Russia series, sweat streaming down his face, Phil Esposito told sports broadcaster Johnny Esau the series had become war. Interesting. Now, 52 years later, with a new U.S. government making drastic changes to tariffs, relations with our neighbor to the south are a wee bit test. Which makes me ponder this. You've heard those ideas about the incoming president wanting to make Canada the 51st state? He could be scheming out a way to ensure the state would be assured of the best hockey team on the planet. Guess we find out New Year's Eve. Please check out my Try Again podcast on all podcast platforms. 2-minute warning with me, Tater Monday, Friday, Gregor Show, Sports, 1440.
There you go. That is Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. Tater, you got me thinking. We could build a juggernaut of a hockey team. Canada, U.S. Imagine Team Canada with the American goalies.
It would be, yeah.
Throw in a little Kachuk and a few others.
Yeah, wow. We always, just Canada alone, if you look at all the different tournaments and, teams that the kids that aren't on the team, right? You can come up with a second team that's.
And let's say Macklin Celebrini is allowed to play, or Connor Bedard's still eligible, right?
I think he's still eligible. Yeah.
That's my only issue with the World Juniors. I like it, but I don't get that into it anymore.
What?
When I was younger,
I was going to ask you that. No. I thought you'd be right into it. I'm probably more into that than I would be the NHL.
Okay, well, great. Because we're going to have AJ Jackiebeck join us. He's doing the radio, so you can take over.
I don't know if you want me taking over.
I like watching it. Of course, we're watching that tomorrow night. It's going to be great. It's one of the best traditions when you get these two teams going at it.
Yeah.
But I always think, Canada's always got a couple great players that can't be there. Obviously, they're always going to be loyal to their NHL franchise. It's always going to be that way. But I don't know. I don't love it the way I used to, I suppose.
Really, I think anytime you could get countries competing against each other, like you look at the Four Nations Cup, I'm excited about that. And I've heard people talk about that tournament and players not necessarily maybe taking it as serious as say the World Juniors or some other events, but
Olympics,
but I do. I really think everyone takes great pride in playing for their country. And I don't think it's a game. I know it's a game you cannot take your foot off, and it's played with emotion, right? And when teams are made up, and have guys that play with that and bring that out of you, like a Kachuk or, a Sam Bennett, like you're gonna be like, I think we're gonna be entertained. I think it's gonna be exciting, and it seems to me like I feel like you get brought together more.
Yeah.
As a
Everyone's
community
united.
and friends. It's like, hey, what are you doing for the game? More so than, an 82 game schedule of the NHL.
I said it during the playoffs last year. I tweeted at it. Canucks fans came at me. I said, "You're going to love cheering for McDavid at the Olympics." And they were like, "We will not cheer for him at the Olympics." Yeah, you will.
Oh yeah.
When he's on your side, he's pretty fun to cheer for.
Yeah, I think we're going to cheer for lots of different guys that you might not want to cheer for during the season, but that's quite typical, right? I mean, lots of guys that you have a hatred for. We all wish that it's like, man, wouldn't you love to see a Kachuk or a guy like Sam Bennett or Tom Will, like the guys that really bring out that emotional, like, that hatred. Like, how could you not want those guys on your team?
I hated Theo Fleury, but man, when he was on Team Canada 2002, all right, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
He was a pretty good player, right?
I just wonder, I don't know and necessarily think we have to go back a number of years into like the bloodbath, like the physicality that it used to be, but like, can we go back a little bit?
Well,
wasn't that a thing? Like Canada, like you tuned in and you could they're finishing their checks, and
that's what I was gonna say.
It's in Ottawa, it's in Canada, like the crowd is buzzing. We're making everyone pay the ultimate price to play against us. Where is that?
Yeah, well, and I go back and MTR texting in as well. But you remember the clip? I don't know if you've seen it, talking about, was it the Redeem team and Kobe telling his guys, "I'm going to run through Pau Gasol. Like, that guy's my brother on the Lakers, but I'm going to run through him."
It gives me goosebumps.
Yeah,
you just said that. It gives me goosebumps.
Like, you love it. Now, as MTR says, is Zachem going to finish a hard check on McDavid? If he sees him in the corner, is he going to does he hold up? Like it?
Yeah. I would say he probably, I would have to think so. I don't think you're going to put your guy into next year. Right. But I think he has to have a level of intensity and because if you don't, like, he's going to make you look bad anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go into it thinking anything less, he's going to make you look worse.
Yeah.
Right. So you probably, I don't think you'd ever go in there trying to put him in the next year, but I think you're definitely going to, but I don't know if there's certain guys that I think are wired that would. Like, I think Sam Bennett, you look at him, childhood friends with Connor McDavid, played, have a great relationship, played all their minor hockey together, have a lot of respect for each other. That guy could not care. He could have cared less about Connor McDavid in that friendship.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, that's the way, we were brought up. I was brought up, like there was no, you didn't talk to guys before the game. You didn't want to be seen talking to guys because it was like a sign of almost like weakness. But there's a lot of bro tapping out there now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of conversation, and I'm kind of a little bit old school as far as being like, I don't, you can be friends after, right? But, business is business and the game is the game. There's time for that later. But when you're playing, and I thought that was kind of nice for Sam Bennett, to have that side of him. I just don't think there's a lot of guys wired like him and Tom Wilson and Reeves. I love the fact that Reeves doesn't hide from the fact that he plays a game that if you're not ready, he might hurt you.
Well, and even like maybe a lesser extent, but Brad Marchand, like he has to play on that line where he might do something dirty.
Yeah.
And can he turn that off? Because, hypothetically, let's say like Pasternak's on the other side. I don't know.
He's a guy that I think wouldn't surprise me if he crossed the line.
And it just takes one time for that to happen in this tournament.
And it's game on.
And then I think it's going to happen.
It is game on. And I hope it's that entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it to be that entertaining. I want that. I love the skill. I love where the game is at, skill wise. Right. But I really want to have the physical side of the game. And I think that's important that we never get rid of that, because I played with lots of players, a lot of the listeners and all of us, doesn't matter what level you play, we all eventually play men's league. And we watch guys that are playing and we wonder, well, gee, that guy is very skilled and skates well, handles a ball. Like he's a really good player. Like, why didn't he make it?
Yeah.
And it's not just about being skilled. It's not just about being good. It's having toughness comes in many different forms. And, the skilled players like Sakic and Datsuk or Iliosh, like they weren't overly physical as far as, their physicality, but those guys were fearless going into the corner, taking a hit, being the first. Like their grittiness and their toughness was at another level.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want that to be taken away from the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be intriguing how players going to toe that line in the midseason tournament. That is only 4 teams. I feel like the Olympics, I hope, would be a different animal. But
do you think it's going to be physical?
I think he'll be more physical,
more than what people are. Yeah, I think we're all hoping that.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll head out to Ottawa, talk a little bit about the Canadian World Junior team as they now set their attention to the United States, who they'll meet tomorrow, obviously coming off a weekend where they fall to Latvia, bounce back, got the win last night. We'll talk to AJ Jackie back. Also, Jason Gregor will join us in hour 3, and we'll get to 5 questions with Declan Kruger. Right now, though, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Be winter ready without stopping power. Until December 31st, you can save up to $125 on a set of 4 select tires, plus save $50 more on any service of $150 or more with a set of 4 select Goodyear tires. Conditions apply. Visit fountaintire.com to book an appointment.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, 3 games today in the NHL. The Rangers in Florida to take on the Panthers. 5 p.m. puck drop for that one. The line currently Florida at -210. Nashville in Winnipeg to take on the Jets at 5:30. The line for that one currently Winnipeg -120. And Utah in Seattle at 6. The line for that one, Utah -150. 7 games today in the NBA. It all gets going with 2 games at 5 p.m. Chicago in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. And the New York Knicks in Washington to take on the Wizards. World Junior action score from earlier today. It was Slovakia over Kazakhstan 5-4 in overtime, and Latvia and Germany currently tied 2-2 with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third period. College football action, the Music City Bowl does have a final. It was Missouri over Iowa 27-24, and in the NFL, 1 game tonight, Detroit in San Francisco to take on the Niners. News around the sporting world is the Dallas Stars have been fined $100,000 for violating the CBA surrounding holiday on ice activities, and G. Roy Simon, former Elks interim GM, is set to become the new GM of Sacramento State. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
Vimy and Donnan Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you are a student athlete interested in growing as both a person and a hockey player, visit vimyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.ca to register for a free shadow day. Beginner or an experienced player, these programs are designed to nurture and develop your skills in a positive and supportive environment. Vimy and Donnan help student athletes pursue their passion for hockey while achieving their academic goals. Register for a Vimy and Donnan Hockey Shadow Day today.
Didn't get a holiday bonus? At Wolf GMC Buick, we have the bonus you need. Get 0% financing on our most popular trucks like the Sierra half-ton crew cab during GMC's Canada-wide clearance. Or select up to $8,500 on a number of Sierras. If you're looking for heavy duty, we have that too. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra HDs, Yukons, and the all-new GMC Hummer EV. And seeing it's the holidays, a $500 bonus on select 2024 and 2025 models. But when the holidays are done, so are these deals. Get to Wolf GMC Buick today.
Hi, it's Mandy from Jack's Drive-In. Ring in the holidays with our special Jack Frost Christmas treat. There's so many flavors to choose from, like candy cane, after eight, turtle, gingerbread, and even eggnog. Head over to Jack's Drive-In, independent, local, and truly Canadian. Click jacksdrivein.ca.
Mental health care can't wait until I'm 18.
That's why CASA Mental Health provides free mental health services for children and youth. CASA's specialized services empower kids to thrive, helping those in the missing middle where mental illness is too complex for just community care or doctors alone and shouldn't need a hospital. Donors like you can help CASA continue expanding its circle of care to more kids.
Help build the future of mental health care for kids and youth in Alberta.
Level up for kids' mental health at casamentalhealth.org.
Thank you for tuning in to the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger, and Kate the Great with you here on Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, as well as Sports 1440. If you're streaming, hello. Everyone watching on video, thank you guys. We appreciate it. Give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. And yeah, that'll be pretty awesome. I think that'll go a long way for us in the algorithm. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can use promo code Gregor50. You get a $50 free play for the month of December. And tomorrow is Lotto Max worth $20 million. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. And remember to use your game sense. Stay within your limits. Right now, we'll get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. They want to thank all their sponsors and fans for the support in 2024 and wish you with them all the best and a productive and happy 2025. Big guest of the day today is AJ Jackiebeck with TSN 1200 out in Ottawa. AJ, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Outstanding. How are you guys?
We're doing really good. We appreciate you coming on the show today. Talk a little bit about the World Juniors. And I mean, you're covering it. You're in it as much as anyone else out there. So I want to ask you just what did you make of the team's reply to the loss on a Friday night, the shootout loss, obviously, to Latvia? They bounced back yesterday and pick up a nice little win over the Germans, 3-0. What did you make of the bounce back performance?
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, I can tell you that, but they got the job done. And, you know, there's the glass half full approach and there's the glass half empty approach. And I think both are worth going over. I mean, glass half full, this team has defeated, I think there's 5 gold medal favorites. I don't think there's one. Like, there's not a team as good as the U.S. was last year. There's 5 teams that all have a chance to win gold if things turn their way, and that's Czechia, Sweden, Canada, Finland, and the United States. And Canada's defeated in the pre-tournament Sweden and Czechia, and they beat Finland quite convincingly, certainly in their first big game in this tournament on Boxing Day, 4-0. So I think there's a lot to like from what Canada has done, starting in goal with Carter George, continuing on to the fact that they've only given up 2 goals, 5-on-5, but glass half empty. I mean, I think we know what some of the concerns are. The power play has struggled. They've taken some undisciplined penalties. They haven't been able to score enough. I think they're too small up front. But, you know, they've got it all in front of them. They win tomorrow against the United States, whether it's regulation or an overtime or a shootout. You finish first in your group and you get an easier game in the quarterfinals. And, you know, hopefully you get into the medal round and go from there. But the big concern for me right now is in terms of their skaters. Matthew Schaefer, to me, was their best player. Carter George has been their best player in this tournament, and I have no concerns about their goaltending. But you look at losing Matthew Schaefer was a huge blow in that Latvia game, and I couldn't tell you who their best skater has been beyond that. And that's a concern when you got 10 first-round picks. So there's a couple of players that need to step up, and we'll see who's able to do that starting tomorrow night against the U.S.
So what do you think of the physicality? I mean, you think back of, you know, and I know the game's changed, but when you think back to Team Canada and their willingness to get engaged physically and kind of impose their will on teams, especially early, you know, is that time and game gone, or do they have a team that's built for that? You talk about skating. Do they have guys that can get in there on the forecheck? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and to me, it's a couple of different things in terms of their size, and it doesn't mean I don't like any small forwards. You've got to take the best team possible, but this is the third lightest team that they've ever had. You have to go back to 84 and 83. And by the way, neither team medaled in those years when they had the 2 lightest teams in history. Doesn't mean you have to, you know, replace guys like Gavin McKenna with, you know, more Cole Beaudoins, but it just feels like the mix is a little bit off to me. And I feel like the biggest issue isn't so much what you're talking about with the forecheck, which, you know, is a concern for sure, but more just what you're looking at in terms of getting to the front of the net. They're spending way too much time on the perimeter in the offensive zone and not getting to the front of the net. I'm watching this Latvia-Germany game right now, and it's interesting. A lot of the goals, the goaltenders that we saw look so good paired to for Germany and Feldbergs for Latvia, they didn't see them. And how many times did you say that on shots that Canada had? Not enough, especially in the Latvia game. At the very least, Cole Beaudoin was in front of that. You know, they got a lucky balance for sure on the Caden Price goal, but it was Beaudoin in front of the net creating the havoc that led to that. And there hasn't been enough of that. It's been too much on the perimeter. So, look, what's done is done. I used to call major junior hockey for 20 years. And I always said that, you know, when you're watching 100 games a year, I always marveled at the peanut gallery complaining about who was on the team and who was off the team. And a lot of people reading scouting reports rather than just watching the games themselves. But I will say this year, as a guy that, you know, I don't call major junior hockey anymore, I get to about 15 games a year between the OHL and the Q. And so I'm not qualified to decide who should be on the team or off the team. But, I talked to some scouts that I trust, and it feels like this year more than others, they left some really key players off of Team Canada. I thought Beckett Seneca, for example, I thought he did more than enough at camp. 6'4", third overall pick, goal scorer, to earn a spot at the team. He was one of the best players at camp. I was surprised that Carter Yakimchuk didn't get an invite, given how he played in Ottawa. If he's 22 years old and not 19, they don't send him to the American Hockey League. They keep him in Ottawa. But part of the reason why he didn't make the Senators, because he was one of their 6 best defensemen, is they thought, well, we'll send him back to junior. He's 19 years old. Don't want to rush him, and he'll play in the World Juniors. And then he doesn't even get an invite. So there's some strange stuff. But that's done and dusted. They can still win this tournament. It's going to be harder because they don't have as big their margin for error is thin. They can't bring their B and their C game and expect to beat the good teams. They need to bring their A game each and every night, or they're not going to win. They can still win because they have the best goalie in this tournament, who just seems like he's unflappable, and they haven't given up a 5-on-5 goal. But those concerns are real about goal scoring, about getting to the middle of the ice, getting to the front of the net. We'll see if some of their better players pick it up as well. Too many of their guys, like I see people complaining about Porter Martone, who's having a great year in the OHL, that he sat in the press box. I didn't have a problem with that at all. He wasn't moving his feet. Easton Cowan's not moving his feet. They got too many guys that are playing like they're still in the Ontario Hockey League. Well, this is a different level. This is the best juniors in the world. And there's some players that need to step it up. So we'll see. I mean, this game on New Year's Eve, it's special. When it's Canada-US, it seems to bring out the best in both teams. And we'll see who's going to step up tomorrow when it really counts against the Americans.
One of the names you brought up was Gavin McKenna, and he's a guy that's also having a great start of the season in the WHL and seems to be elevating his game. What have you thought, and does that surprise you in what normally is a tournament for, the older, being a young prospect up and coming?
Yeah, I thought he was quiet last game, but again, you're talking about someone that just turned 17 years old. At times, like he was getting better with each pre-tournament game and early in the tournament, and then I thought the last game he was a little bit more quiet. But just such a dynamic player with a lot of skill, and someone that he could be a difference maker in these games coming up. It's a lot to ask of a 17-year-old, but you look at Matthew Schaefer. I mean, he was the guy that was just blowing me away. He was the best player on this team with his skating ability, but also his decision making, how good he defended, and offensively as well, always seemingly making the right play. I feel like Schaefer, as good as James Hagens has been in this tournament as well, to me, Matthew Schaefer, even with that broken collarbone, I'd be surprised if he's not number one based on what I saw in this tournament. McKenna's a year away from that, of course. He's one of those lighter guys again on the team, and I don't mind having a handful of those guys. I just feel like there's too many of them. But I'm glad McKenna's on this team because his skill just blows you away, and we'll see if he can make an even bigger impact in these last few games.
As you watch this tournament, is there any players from any of the different teams that have any individual player that's kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, I think for Sweden, Axel Sandin-Pellikka certainly stands off the page for sure. The Czechs have a number of different players that have been good. Shala, Stanstol, a lot of players. Like, I was surprised when people seem to be writing them off at the beginning of the tournament and saying it was going to be between Canada, the U.S., and Sweden. Thought Czechia had some pretty good players, and they've shown that they're absolutely medal-worthy contenders and potentially gold contenders. It's a team I wouldn't really want to play, and Canada had trouble with them in the pre-tournament as well. They did end up winning, but that's a big team that can play physical, and they've got boatloads of skill, as Kazakhstan found out in that 14-2 game. So on this side, really impressed with on the Latvian team, and awesome that they're going to get through. They're getting at least a point here against Germany, so that's all they needed here today as they play in overtime. So Latvia is getting the quarterfinals, whether they win or lose this game or whatever happens tomorrow against Finland, which is fantastic, I think, for the tournament. They got a couple of players. I mean, obviously Feldberg's in goal, but their captain Boulan's has been really good, and Murnik's the big captain of St. John in the Quebec League. He scored today, scored the shootout winner, and big body at 6'6", 209. So certainly he's a guy that's impressed. Helenius has been quieter than I expected. First rounder to the Buffalo Sabres for Finland. I really like Kasper Holtman and the shot that he possesses. Very dangerous on the half wall and the power play. And when it comes to the U.S., I mean, that top line of Leonard, Perreault, and Hagens is very dangerous. And obviously Cole Hudson on the back end, along with Boyum. So a lot of really good players in this tournament. I mean, part of the reason I love this tournament, it's interesting. Some people like to bash on this tournament. I think it's fantastic. You know, I remember watching, for example, Burry, McGillney, and Fedorov when they were aligned in Alaska back in '89. It's my first taste of watching those players before they got to the NHL. You know, not to mention watching Tim Stutzla for Germany, or Nino Niederreiter for Switzerland, or Peter Forsberg and Marcus Naslund putting up almost, I think they scored about 30 points each in the tournament in '94. Canada ended up winning that one. So there's been so many great players to watch through the years. And, you know, unlike kind of college football, college basketball, although that's changing in basketball as well, you always kind of knew, well, if you watch this league, you're going to see the best players that you're going to see in the NFL or the NBA. It's not quite that way anymore. There's a lot of great players in Major Junior. There's a lot of great players in NCAA hockey. There's a lot of great players overseas. So your best chance to see the future talent that's going to play in the NHL is in this tournament. And I think it's been fully on display here. And very cool. Latvia just won. So, man, what a story. That's what this tournament is all about. Maybe one or two of those guys end up playing in the NHL. A few others will have pro careers. But for these guys, they're going to remember this tournament the rest of their lives. As soon as they arrived in Ottawa, they went to an outlying community in Arnprior. They were welcomed with open arms. I know a bunch of school kids went, and they're asking for autographs, and they had a bunch of signs up, some in English, some in Latvian. I mean, they're just not going to get this type of experience ever again when it comes to hockey, and that's, to me, what this tournament is all about.
Well, AJ, really appreciate you joining us. Have a great call tomorrow. It should be an outstanding atmosphere as Canada takes on the United States, and we appreciate you doing this.
Anytime, guys. Take care.
There you go. That is AJ Jacobek doing the play-by-play on the radio for Canada. This World Juniors taking on the States tomorrow should be a fun one. Daniel in Blackfall says, Connor, they haven't looked the same since Schaefer went down. Our bread and butter has always been the heavy side, and getting on that forecheck, it's just not there.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, that was always kind of something, you know, you sit back and you can just feel the wave of shift after shift and the physicality. And, you know, it was something that a lot of, you know, countries and teams just seemed like they struggled with. They would just, you know, impose their will and make players and teams pay the price. And it would just kind of set them up perfectly for the third period. And, you know, it just doesn't seem to have that emotional investment in it for me.
I'll always remember Jordan Tutu when he was there and just like
crushing
the Tutu train. He was out there. He set the tone for those teams back in 2003. Didn't have to put up points. I think he had 2 points in the tournament, but was just flying.
You need those guys, right? I mean, skill is great and you need that as well. But, you know, the mixture of different types of players and guys that, you know, buy into their roles, more importantly. I mean, that's just at every level, right? If you want to have success, you need guys that feel comfortable and are willing, you know, to do that and are comfortable in doing that. You know, and that's hard to find. That's hard to find for any organization, especially, you know, when you have such a short-term tournament and you're trying to put this together. As he, you know, pointed out, there's a lot of good players that aren't on that list. And, you know, you could probably make the argument, you know, for a lot of guys to be there. That's probably one of the hardest, it's got to be one of the hardest decisions to make as a coaching staff, right? Is, you know, so much goes into it. Cause you're not, you know, I'm assuming like when you go into, you know, these tryouts, you know, they pretty much, I'm assuming, have an idea of where in the direction they want to go. So I imagine it being, you know, pretty difficult going into a tryout to try and actually make it, because they must have a ghost roster.
Especially a powerhouse like Canada. If anything goes wrong, this guy should be there. He should be there. You messed it all up. Like, yeah, it's tough. But you almost have to go undefeated to get like a passing grade from a casual Canadian hockey fan. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get to Jason Gregor, the host of this show. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great with you here. You're watching on Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and X, and listening on Sports 1440. The show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Delicious news. The McDonald's meals you love are now $9.99 every day. Grab your faves like the Big Mac, 6-piece McNuggets, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish with medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99 each plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Edmonton, Alberta, and the surrounding area, prices exclude delivery.
A Bedtime Story by Zachary Martin Hyman.
The hockey game's over. The Zamboni sleeps soon. I lay down in comfort. Legacy heating my room. Good night to you, furnace, with your hot blower running. Good night to you, air vents, keeping the warm air coming. Good night to my payments that I won't see for 1 year. Good night to my legacy. Bedtime is near.
Warm winter nights. That's how you soothe your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
New year, new you. Let's kickstart 2025 by making better life choices, starting with quality pizza from Papa John's. Right now, get 25% off any regular menu price pizza with promo code BETTER25. A deal so good, it might just count as self-care. But hurry, resolutions wait for no one. Offer ends January 5th. Order now at papajohns.ca with promo code BETTER25. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some Papa John's.
3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Let's rock. Edmonton's biggest New Year's Eve party is at On the Rise.
Featuring Edmonton's #1 party band,
The Barkhells. The Barkhells. Get ready to dance the night away as we ring in 2025 in style at OTR.
Tickets include a 3-course meal, party favors, and bubbly at midnight.
This party sells out every year.
Oh, and if you don't have anyone to kiss at midnight, Marco is always available.
OTR's New Year's Eve party.
Tickets at ontherock.yeg.com.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhauk beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhauk beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And if you're on Instagram, we're on the Sports 1440 account. Thank you for tuning in. Connor Halley, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger with you here. Kate the Great keeping us online as we march forward. We're going to get right into it right now. Jason Gregor joining us momentarily. Kind of contradicted myself there. We'll get right into it as he joins us momentarily. Once he joins the chat, we'll get him in here. Brownie, we were just kind of talking about, the development of Canadian hockey and, a lot of chance for, Europeans to come over here. And for a little while, the WHL, I don't know, maybe it was across the entire CHL, had said no more European goaltenders. We're going to work on our own here. That was 5-10 years ago at this point. We really haven't seen the Canadian goaltenders catch up to the rest of the world right now. And how did you get them there?
Yeah, I don't know how long or where they're at with that now, but yeah, I mean, it is tough when you're developing goalies from other countries, to play against you in these types of tournaments. I think if I was a Canadian goalie, I'd probably be a little bit frustrated with that because there's only one goalie can play, only two can dress, right? So it does make it tough. And when we do watch the World Juniors or a lot of international or these tournaments, you do see, their mask, is sometimes, whether it's, a major junior match, you could tell that they're developing somewhere else. So, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's different. It's, I know when I was over in Europe, we had, they have the European draft, and I was one of the older guys when I was playing over there, and I played with young kids that had, were drafted, and I was always, some of them were pretty hesitant to go over there, right? Because, they're playing pro, they're making good money, they're playing in their country, they're quite comfortable. And, you know, I had conversations with some of the young guys, and, you know, I was encouraging them to be like, hey, you know what, this is, your hockey over here is great, but hockey over in North America is different. And you have the benefit of doing both. And, you know, to go over and to adjust to the North American style, smaller rink, you know, and to be quite honest with you, it's more of a grind, right? Coaches and just everything is more, right? And harder. And I felt like, you know, years of that, you know, for myself really set me up well to go to Europe and, you know, be able to perform and handle the types of pressure and all the different situations, you know, that you have to face, because it wasn't quite the same as it was in North America, and it was easier to handle, and I had more tools to handle it. And so, yeah, lots of these kids, you know, weren't 100% sure, but I was like, hey, you know, if you can always come back here. Like, you got this. You can always come back. You know, we don't necessarily have that option as North American guys, right? You play Pee Wee Bantam and you just kind of go through it. And if you continue to develop, great. And if you don't, you just kind of fall off. So, there were some kids that went and, you know, they just, you know, I remember one kid, and I won't use his name, but he came back and, you know, I was disappointed, you know, and one of the things that he had said to me was, you know, the coach was hard on him. He didn't feel like the coach liked him. And, you know, I don't know the whole situation, but I mean, anyone that's played the game long enough knows that not every coach is going to like you all the time. And there's only one puck and so much ice time, and he's got to find a way to divvy that up. And that's part of the puzzle as an athlete you're trying to figure out. Right. And I was just like, man, if you were willing to grind and stay in that a little bit longer, you know, it brings out other areas of your game. You know, because it's not just it's not an easy, it's not, you know, the game is unfortunately like the highs and lows and the different dips, like it's an emotional roller coaster, right? You don't just have you don't really have just great years where you're not faced with some type of challenge and adversity. And when you face enough of those, you know, you develop tools and you callous yourself and you start to understand, and you can handle them and deal with them. You know, they don't last as long, and you can deal with them quicker. And it makes you better. And, you know, some kids, you know, are made for that, you know, and then some aren't. But I'm a believer that, you know, when you fight through some of that adversity, it just makes you appreciate that much more. But when you love something, you're willing, you know, obviously to fight through all that, right? I mean, I would never want to I look at myself now. I wouldn't, you know, I don't want that now. I don't want to spend the time and the commitment, right? And usually that's what happens when guys, it's like, hey, that when I went over there, it was because, you know, I wasn't willing and committed to doing the things that you would have to do to play at the North American level. And I was like, you know what, I went over there with, you know, a clear mind and being like, hey man, I'm just going to kind of extend my career and play and have some fun. And, you know, it's still professional. You still have to perform, but you know, the grind of the North American game and the expectations there, you know, is helped me be and handle those same scenarios.
We've got Jason Gregor on the line now. We'll bring him in right now, the usual host of this show, joining us here. Jason, how are you doing today?
Good, fellas. You?
Declan, I can't hear Gregor. It looks like our technical issues might be continuing, so we might have to get him on the phone. This happened earlier on in the day, so we might have to get Gregor on the phone. We'll do that right now.
You're probably in a bunker in a rink somewhere.
You know what? We had a power outage last week.
Oh.
And I think it messed with our board settings. So we're going to talk to an engineer.
Yep.
And get that fixed.
We're moving soon anyway.
Yeah, 5 months.
Is it going to come with some new headsets? Like are we going to have to, when I look at you, going to have to like, you know?
I think we have it like
what's the setup look
custom designed. Like you and Gregor can stare right at each other.
Yeah.
And we're going to be on like further down where we can see, but there also might be a little bit away. And then Declan's going to be behind me. Anyways.
Get some glass or something.
We've asked for those sorts of things.
Is it in the same building?
Same building, yeah, just around the corner.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we'll have this fixed soon. Jason, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, fellas. You?
Doing good. How'd coaching go?
Terrible coaching. Lost in the final in a shootout.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
That
can't complain about that.
You did all you could do as a coach.
Man, blew a 3-0 lead though, so that was bad coaching.
Oh well. We'll move on to another topic then. The Edmonton Oilers over the weekend, and it doesn't get much better. Obviously, the loss to the Kings in overtime, that's one thing. But to waste a game where your special teams were so good and lose, a 5-on-5 battle with the Anaheim Ducks. Not the ideal start to this, let's just call it the second half of the season for the Oil.
Well, their propensity to give up leads has been a problem here lately. And we saw it in LA, saw it again in Anaheim. And the Anaheim game is obviously more concerning because you're up 3-1 and your best player had two great chances. If he buries one of them, they probably win the game. And, Edmonton, I thought, for a team that, you can't tell me fatigue's a factor. They haven't played very much at all. Their second game. It's back-to-back. Who cares? The afternoon games, back-to-back, everybody tells me the easiest ones. There's no travel from LA to Anaheim. You're in bed early, unless all of a sudden, moms were taking them partying. So I probably doubt that. So, there's really no excuse for their game yesterday. They haven't had a lot of those, but, Anaheim controlled them for much of that game. And so we'll see how they bounce back against Utah. These next two games, I know it's only two brief home game, but they're entering a real tough stretch of their season here, starting Friday. They've got lots of travel against lots of good teams in a short period of time, right? They play Anaheim Friday, then they're in Seattle, then Boston and Pittsburgh and Chicago, home for one day against LA, then back on the road 3 games in 4 days in Minnesota, Colorado, and I can't remember the third one, but they're all tough teams. So the Oilers are going to have to, this 2-game homestand, they're going to have to play way better.
Gregor, what are your thoughts on Jeff Skinner? I think we were all excited, when they picked him up and the depth and, what he can provide the Oilers and, veteran player that can put up points. It's obviously not quite working out to this point. Is there, do you see them finding a solution? Is this something that both parties maybe have to separate, or do you see them grinding through this and potentially we've seen it, throughout the years where someone doesn't have a great regular season and then all of a sudden gets in the playoffs, and kind of changes that. How do you see this kind of playing out?
I don't see that happening. He's never played in the playoffs, and his style of play, I don't know if it can change that much, to be honest. What you've seen from Skinner is a sense of maybe why Buffalo bought him out. He's not very quick. He's obviously not a great defensive player, and now he's always been pretty good 5-on-5, and some can argue, well, he never got a real long shot with McDavid, and that's fair. However, the turnovers are what the coach clearly isn't a fan of, and so I think that you look at Jeff Skinner. I don't know kind of how he's going to get back in. Now Derek Ryan is one that he'll come in for a few games, but that doesn't solve the problem because they need a fourth line center. So, which winger, like actual winger in the lineup, are you going to take out to put in Jeff Skinner at this point? And I'm not really sure I see one. So that's the challenge, right? They're not taking Podkolzin out because he's a forechecker, and Draisaitl needs a forechecker. So Arvidsson, no, probably not Kapanen, right? Janmark and Brown are third line guys, are penalty killers. So who comes out? Right, that's Skinner's issue here. So I'm sure, and keep in mind the GM wasn't the guy who signed him, so he doesn't have any emotional connection to him. And I think that this is one where I don't know how much trade value has, guys. Let's be honest here. You're trying to get a team to take him at this point. Now he has a no movement clause, so that makes it even harder. Now maybe he'll accept it because he doesn't want to be here, right? And he's like, hey, I don't, because if you're Jeff Skinner, you want to go somewhere to try to salvage yourself to get another contract next year, right? You could be stubborn and say, no, I signed here, I want to play in the playoffs. But, he's got to look and be strategic and be like, yeah, I'll accept, look around the league and be, okay, where can I go that I'm going to get to play in the top 9? Because I need to play. Otherwise, what kind of contract is he going to get next year? League minimum?
Well, it seems like it's almost a situation, Gregor, where he would have to pick this team. He might have to go out and find it because obviously he has to waive the no movement clause. And then what would a team even give up for him at this point, just knowing he's at probably the lowest value he's ever been at?
Yeah, well, he has no trade value right now, guys. Let's call a spade here. So, you have to, now part of GM is finding someone, one man's, garbage is another man's treasure. So, that's kind of how you have to look at it sometimes.
Do you see a situation where Noah Philp, in the American Hockey League gets an opportunity?
Well, I'd like to see him get an opportunity because you have to find out if you can solve your fourth line center position internally. Right? I don't think Derek Ryan's the answer. So You have to find out if you can solve that. And to me, the only way to do it is to find out if Noah Philp can play. Now, it's a big ask for a cup contending team to have a rookie in any position. They don't really have any rookies on the team. So, is 10 games going to be enough? Probably not, but he skates well, he's strong, you can see all that. You won't really know how he handles the playoffs until he gets there. But, even if you get Noah Philp, they might be looking, just to get another veteran center just in case, right? So, we'll see what they do. But I think it's obvious that Stan Bowman wants to add a little skilled sandpaper to his bottom six. Like, you don't just get guys who can't play. He wants guys who can play. I think Noah Philp can play, but I don't know for sure. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's a guaranteed lock that he's an everyday NHL center iceman. I think it's trending like it's looking that way, but is he there yet? And is he there to be a playoff guy? That I can't say for sure.
Jason Gregor joining us on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger with you here. Gregor, today, Jesse Puljujärvi placed on waivers. Does he have an NHL future?
Nah, I don't know. He's 6'4", decent skater, and doesn't cost very much. If you're a team that's in the bottom of the standings that's looking for a reclamation project, like, what would it hurt? Right? He's not going to hurt your cap. So I don't know. Yes, he's a bottom six player is what he is, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're in the NHL for a long time as a bottom six player, Kyle Brodziak would tell you has a pretty damn good career, 900 plus games, but he also scored 20 goals a few times. So I don't know if, yes, he's got to be someone that he's got to show a coach that he can kill penalties, right? Otherwise, what's his use, right? He's not overly physical, not an energy guy. He doesn't score enough. So if he can't kill penalties, then he's just a guy. How does he play? So that's the challenge for him. So I don't know if someone will take a chance on him. I really like Jesse as a person. I've always had good conversations with him. But he's still young enough that he can figure it out and say, okay, you know what? I've got to find a way that I can, like, if he goes to the American League, and I talk to my agent and say, guys, put me on the penalty kill. I got to kill penalties all the time and show that I can kill penalties. And if he can do that, then he probably might have a chance to get back in the league.
So I'm assuming you're watching a little bit of the World Juniors. There was obviously the upset against Latvia. We got the big New Year's game against the U.S. Like, what are your thoughts of Team Canada and what you've seen? They seem to be taking some undisciplined penalties, not getting, some of the bigger players not able to step up and get the big goal. What are you seeing and how are you liking the World Juniors?
Well, Latvia, everybody freaks out. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I think most people were like, okay, let's not have a summit. Let's not freak out. It's one game, and the Latvian goaltender was out of his mind. Good for him, right? So, U.S. lost to Finland, right? Like, in one game, anything can happen. At any time, if you can have a goalie stand on his head, it happens. So I think for Canada, they didn't look great against Germany. I really haven't loved their offensive finish, guys. Like, there were some question marks about some of the guys they left off, and there's some question marks about, who's on their power play and why aren't there naturally most skilled guys on the power play? Like, at times I see a head coach who's a little bit of an old school head coach. It's like, this is what I've decided and I'm not changing. And you know what? Veteran guys, they get more of the opportunity, blah, blah. Give me a break. Coach who's ever playing the best plays. And Gavin McKenna is your most skilled forward. Why isn't he on the power play? I don't get it.
Gregor, one more before we let you go here. Are the Bengals going to make the playoffs?
Well, let's just say this. Please, for the love of everything, like, they got to make. I'd rather have them than Miami. Miami's awful. So if they're in, like, at least with Cincinnati, they can put up some points. But so can Denver. Like, that game, Bo Nix, he went pass for pass with Joe Burrow. There wasn't a lot of great defense, but man, if you're a Denver fan, you should be pretty excited about what Bo Nix has done this year. He's a pretty electrifying quarterback. I like him. So at least Denver, they present a problem. But the Chiefs, what are they going to do? Who are they going to play? Are they going to dress anybody? They have a bye, so maybe they don't want to have 3 weeks off for guys. They just played 3 games in 11 days, so maybe they want the rest. The thing about the Chiefs is, if they have an extra rest, does it really matter for them? Will they be rusty? Probably not. So I think Denver, the only way Cincinnati gets in is if the Chiefs dress a lot of their starters. I'm not sure that's going to happen.
If it were to happen, is Joe Burrow considered an MVP candidate?
Well, if they make the playoffs, well, yeah. It'd be hard not to. Look at his stats.
That's crazy.
He got 42 touchdown passes already. God, he might finish with 45 or 6. So he would be up there. I think because and that's why you don't talking about who's the MVP in week 7 is a great conversation, but it's irrelevant because it's based on the full season. It's not based on week 10. It's not based on week 13. It's based on the whole season. And so if Joe Burrow is able to lead them and dig them out of the hole and give them into the playoffs, well, that's worth something, right? Some people might not want to use that and just say, well, hey, they weren't good enough. Like if he's an MVP, why are they only 9-8? Well, he doesn't play defense, right? Like their defense is brutal. So now some would argue that the Bills' defense hasn't necessarily been stellar, and Josh Allen finds ways to just outscore the opposition. So, there's something to be said there. I think it's a long shot, even if Cincy makes it, that Joe Burrow's MVP.
Gregor, hey, what did you get for Christmas? Anything exciting?
Brownie, my favorite Christmas gift was I got a stick organizer for my garage because I had like a
got that many sticks.
Well, enough of them that it's a pain in the ass. It looks like they're in this kind of quasi corner, and it's in this bucket, and they fall over all the time, and it's just annoying. And I'm telling you, buddy, I screwed that thing into the wall. I measured it, had to level out. It's perfectly straight. I got 5 sticks hanging in there, and actually I got to get rid of one of them because I'm like, why I got this stick? And I'm like, every time I leave my garage, I look over, my sticks are perfectly lined up. Nothing's falling over. When I go to grab something, if my son goes to grab some of his pucks or whatever, the bucket would fall over all the time if you hit it the wrong way. So I'm telling you, it was the greatest, most simple gift.
Hey, how many did you buy, and how many did Noah Gregor give you?
How many of those sticks? Actually, you know what? He's never given me a stick, but I've never asked either. So, my son shoots the opposite way, so it wouldn't benefit him to Noah shoots left and he shoots right. But you know what? No, actually, one of the sticks that I still have is Rafi Torres gave me a stick at a charity event once, so I still have that one. But I bought a new stick for the first time in forever, and because I think my stick was about 15 years old, and I got this new twig, and whoo, buddy, should put me in a shootout today, top shelf, guaranteed every time. So it's great. But I will, I've never asked my nephew. I don't know, I never asked for stuff like that. He would gladly give it to me, but I've never bothered to ask for one. So I might be asking him though for some fight lessons the other day. Had a really good tilt there yesterday against old Jones. I want to check that one out. Might want to check it out, Brownie.
Yeah,
really, really smart, controlled tilt, and then pretty good uppercuts.
Oh, good. That's exactly. I'm gonna have to look that up on old hockey fights there. Is he a collector? Does he collect stuff?
Oh God, no. I don't think. I could ask him. I wouldn't know. I don't think so. He has a few I'm lucky. I know the photographers in Edmonton, and they've given me some really good action shots. And then I made I got his first the game sheet when he scored the 2 goals and set the Sharks record for 2 quickest goals start a game, which happened to happen in Edmonton. And so I had some action photos from that day given to me, and then so we got the game sheet and put that in. So he has that. But I don't know if that's a collector's item. That's just personal. But I don't think so. I know you're a big collector, but no, I've never. I regret some days at times not, getting stuff. But then I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a guy. I respect the collectors. I'm not a collector guy. So I don't know if he is. I've never seen anything in his house that would suggest that. But I think he might have a Joe Thornton stick though, because he played with Joe. So I think he might have a Joe Thornton stick.
I actually had one. I used it for road hockey. But
a Joe Thornton stick?
A Joe Thornton stick. I used it for road hockey, kind of a mistake. I mean, I don't collect it for money, right? But I did love the fact that kids could come over and enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, no, it's one of those things that probably when you're in the moment and he doesn't have kids, he's probably not thinking big picture down the road. But maybe it's something I'll mention too, because he's just getting started really in his career still. Yeah. So he's probably got a lot of time. Get a Claude Giroux stick, playing with a guy like Giroux, heck of a player. So. Maybe he could start doing it. I'll have to tell him that Brownie said he should.
He'll regret it. I'm telling you. I have guys and friends that come to my house or you talk to later on in their career. And for as much as I got bugged for collecting stuff, they're all like, man, I wish I did that. But I'm not going to. It came with a lot of heat. It came with a lot of heat. I had to be strong. Yeah. Sometimes I think they, at times felt like there was a super fan in the building, but I don't regret it at all.
Nothing wrong with that, man. It's always good to be wanted.
Yep.
All right, Gregor, thanks for doing this. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Yeah, Happy New Year, fellas.
There you go. Jason Gregor, the usual host, off for a few days. He'll be back on Thursday. Tomorrow we've got the best of, and then we'll pick things up as normal. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get to 5 questions with Declan Kruger. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Sean Brown with you on Play Alberta, on Sports 1440, also Oilers Nation Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates,
Call Legacy.
Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
New year, new you. Let's kickstart 2025 by making better life choices, starting with quality pizza from Papa John's. Right now, get 25% off any regular menu price pizza with promo code BETTER25. A deal so good, it might just count as self-care. But hurry, resolutions wait for no one. Offer ends January 5th. Order now at papajohns.ca with promo code BETTER25. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some Papa John's.
The Boxing Week blowout is back at the Brick. Shop their extraordinary deals like 60% off sofas when you buy the matching Love Cedar chair. Save up to $2,500 off big screen TVs, up to 25% off bedroom and dining room furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an extra $300 off kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
If you live or work in the country, you need your water well in top condition. Wash away any doubt with Caliber Drilling. Experts in residential and industrial water well services with over 20 years experience and a team of dedicated journeyman drillers, plumbers, and electrical technicians. Need a new water well or work done on your existing well? Keeping you well maintained and well serviced is their #1 priority. Financing is available. Visit caliberdrilling.com for a complete list of all drilling services or call 780-960-2992.
Hi, it's Steve from Brown's Chrysler, your Dodge Ram and Jeep dealer in Westlock. We hope you get time to spend with your family and friends during this busy and special time of year. I want to personally thank our customers for their support over the past year. We are very proud to be part of the community. From me and the entire staff at Brown's Chrysler in Westlock, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a safe and happy holiday season.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Tom Brown, and Kate the Great with you here. Coming to you live from the UL Studios in West Edmonton Mall. Did I go mute there for a second?
Man, so you know how you fade the song down? I was fading you down instead. I'm sorry.
I thought maybe my headphones disconnected or something.
It took me a second to catch on as well.
Hey, we're working through it here. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for tuning in. The show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. We got to get right into it. 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. You can end 2024 with a bang. Save up to $3,000 off big screen TVs and save up to 25% off home entertainment, furniture, and fireplaces at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Okay, guys. Question number 1, Edmonton in action tomorrow. Can we get a score prediction and a bold prediction?
Did you email those? Because I had them, but now I can't find them on my.
I did, but this way you get to go off the dome a little bit. It's more fun that way.
I'll go with the Oilers are going to win. It's New Year's. It's going to be an exciting game. I'll go with them winning in overtime. A bold prediction. I'm going to go with a bold prediction. I'm going to say Stetcher's going to get a goal.
Okay. I'll say the Oilers. I mean, it's like we always pick them to win. Never going to pick them to lose. So
yeah,
I'll say the Oilers bounce back. Lots of fireworks on New Year's. 5-3 win, and I will say Nuge continues it, scores twice. Sneaky Nuge wrister.
Question number 2, Latvia beat Canada at the World Juniors on Friday. We're talking upsets. Is there an upset that really stands out to you? Maybe not the biggest upset of all time, but one that really stood out to you when you were watching it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm always going to think of those New York Giants, New England Patriots Super Bowls. David Tyree, the undefeated Patriots coming in and just kind of getting shocked. That one, for many reasons, will be the one that always pops into my mind first when I think about great upsets.
I guess for me, I mean, you look at, what was it, UNLV that just upset Denver.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But I guess, being in the Oilers organization and being the small market team, and when they upset Dallas and Colorado, that was always kind of cool because I was a part of the organization. And just, Edmonton, is just gets to another level in the playoffs as a team and as a city. It was just, and the hockey at that time too. I mean, that was ugly. I shouldn't say not ugly in a bad way, but that was hard hockey. That was physical. And that's some of the best hockey I've seen.
Harley Dickinson beating Purdue for me, just as a by the way. Question number 3, the Penguins have placed Jesse Puljujarvi on waivers. Connor, you asked Jason something similar. Is his NHL career over? And if not, what does the rest of his career in the NHL look like?
Yeah, that's potential obviously is there. The size. It's a tough league. It's hard, if I think someone with that size and potential, there's, probably a GM and an organization out there that, will maybe give him another shot. I don't know if I see him going down to the minors and necessarily grinding it out there. I would think that he would have a much better option and set himself up quite nicely playing hockey over in Europe. So I don't know. I don't know where he's at as far as the grind. It's not easy. Being in and out of the lineup and, so, and not a lot of guys have that option to actually go play in their country for probably good money.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because, he's a few seasons removed from the guy who's a double-digit goal scorer. The surgeries can't be easy. And like Gregor said, you got to add more elements to your game, I think, to stick around and be in that bottom 6. If you're not in the power play, you got to try to find a way to play some sort of special teams. He's going to be 27 this year. Like, I just wonder if it hasn't happened yet, is it going to happen? So I'm going to say in all likelihood, I think that he's probably done in the NHL. But like you say, Brownie, that doesn't mean you can't go have a great career in Europe. I'm rooting for him. I hope he can find a way to make it work because I do root for Jesse Puljujarvi. But I think if I had to put a bet down, sadly, I think it's done.
Question number 4. LeGoat James's 40th birthday today. Where do you have him ranked in terms of all-time NBA greats?
Jordan's the ultimate for me. So.
I do agree, despite the goat noises I just made.
That's what those were. That was a dead cat. Yeah, just it's hard for me to. I think Jordan is the best athlete I'll ever see. There was no one like him. You know, the way he played in the big moments, and for what he's done, how he just even I had like a man crush on that guy. Like just I've went to games and he was quite amazing to just look at. So for James for me would probably I would say he's second. You can't deny what he's done, and he's a physical specimen. And
yeah, I think you have the correct order for what it's
worth.
Well, I want to say my goat would be LeBron. I mean,
Really?
did I love him going to Miami and chasing rings? No, I would have loved for him to stay in Cleveland. Love that he went back and got that one done. He's won the midseason tournament. Jordan never did that.
Facts.
Really?
Wink, wink. Yeah, it's a stupid tournament, but there's a joke.
Okay,
it was a joke. I don't hold that against Jordan. I mean, it's those two. My greatest memory of Michael Jordan is Space Jam. I saw him with the Wizards and a little bit towards the end, but so we're not all kumbaya. I'll go with Jordan as my second GOAT. LeBron number one.
And question number 5. I was crushing Squid Game this weekend, season 2. What are your 4 on the Mount Rushmore of TV shows to binge? And very specifically, not necessarily the best TV shows, but TV shows to binge, because it can be different.
Did I hear you say 4? We got to come up with 4? Or?
That's how many are on a Mount
4
Rushmore.
TV shows, yeah. Mount Rushmore.
Lincoln, Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt.
I'll go with Yellowknife because my wife is into that. And,
Yellowstone?
Or sorry, yeah, Yellowknife. Yeah.
Sounds like you love it.
Yellowstone. It's kind of, at first I was kind of like, now that I've kind of had to sit through it with my wife, I've kind of enjoyed it. So that's kind of neat. I had a buddy that actually donated some money, and somehow he was on the set and got into he was one of the extras. That was kind of cool, talking to him over the holidays about that. The next one might not be so popular, but it's one of my wife's favorite, Virgin River. New series just came out. Easy watching. She loves it. Mushy. Blah, blah, blah. After that, I don't know. I'm going to fail on this because I don't watch a lot of, there isn't a lot of TV that I watch. I mean, I love the documentaries when you watch, the Michael Jordan documentary. I mean, there's a number of documentaries on there that I could just watch. I could binge watch that and watch all of them.
Now, are we talking like start to finish, or just sit down and watch like 7 episodes?
I was more thinking that one.
Okay. Because if it's start to finish, like the shorter series, like a Ted Lasso would be up there for me. Stranger Things, I would watch those at any point, but we're just sitting down to watch random episodes. I will say The Office, early Simpsons, Sopranos, and Entourage.
Wow.
Some shows that you don't
think about Entourage.
Entourage, hey, you'd love it. I think. I would love to do another watch of Sons of Anarchy, but I think you got to do the full thing, start to finish. Some of those shows I can just drop in at any point, and I enjoy them.
Yeah, I don't. Have you ever binge watch and watch a series? I can barely watch a hockey game.
Less and less now, but before, when I was younger,
really?
Sunday afternoon, I could just watch finish the show.
Really? I watch a show, and then as I'm watching it, within an hour or at some point in time, I'm like, okay, next. What can I do? I got
something else.
I can't sit still.
Declan, what do you got?
True Detective season 1. I guess Squid Game, obviously. I'll throw The Office on there as well, and Curb Your Enthusiasm for me.
A lot of people like Curb. Brownie, that's it. Unless you want to hang around for another hour, you're totally welcome to.
I gotta get back. I'm going to see you next year, though.
Yeah, see you next year. Happy New Year to you and yours. Appreciate you coming in today, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Awesome. Have a good one.
There you go. Sean Brown joins us every Monday here on the Jason Gregor Show from 3 to 5. When we come back, we'll be joined by Mark Spector. We're going to go to Maui, I believe. Kevin Woodley joining us from the island. Talk some NHL goaltenders, but first, let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. This holiday season, give the gift of Booster Juice. Buy a $30 gift card and get a free regular-sized smoothie for yourself. Gifts never tasted so sweet. Download the Booster Rewards app today. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, 3 games in the NHL. New York and Florida about to kick off here right away. Nashville and Winnipeg at 5:30, and Utah and Seattle at 6. 7 games in the NBA, 2 tipping off right away here. Chicago and Charlotte, and New York and Washington. In the World Juniors, 2 results from earlier today. Both went to OT. Slovakia over Kazakhstan 5-4, and Latvia over Germany 4-3. College football, the Music City Bowl saw Missouri beat Iowa 27-24, and in the NFL, Monday Night Football, Detroit in San Francisco, 6:15 kickoff for that one. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
The Boxing Week blowout is back at the Brick. Shop their extraordinary deals like 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seater chair. Save up to $2,500 off big screen TVs, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an extra $300 off kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
A bedtime story by Zachary Martin Hyman.
The hockey game's over. The Zamboni sleeps soon. I lay down in comfort. Legacy heating my room. Good night to you, furnace, with your hot blower running. Good night to you, air vents, keeping the warm air coming. Good night to my payments that I won't see for 1 year. Good night to my legacy. Bedtime is near.
Warm winter nights. That's how you soothe your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Let's rock. Edmonton's biggest New Year's Eve party is at On the Rocks.
Featuring Edmonton's #1 party band, the Barkels.
The Barkels. Get ready to dance the night away as we ring in 2025 in style at OTR.
Tickets include a 3-course meal, party favors, and bubbly at midnight.
This party sells out every year.
Oh, and if you don't have anyone to kiss at midnight, Marco is always available.
OTR's New Year's Eve party.
Tickets at ontherocksyeg.com.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca. If you live or work in the country, you need your water well in top condition. Wash away any doubt with Caliber Drilling. Experts in residential and industrial water well services with over 20 years experience and a team of dedicated journeyman drillers, plumbers, and electrical technicians. Need a new water well or work done on your existing well? Keeping you well maintained and well serviced is their #1 priority. Financing is available. Visit caliberdrilling.com for a complete list of all drilling services or call 780-960-2992.
When you're working on the farm, you need to work, and nobody works harder than Weideman. Available at Amra Farm Equipment. Innovation from tradition. That's Weideman's motto. And whether it's a multifunctional half track, a powerful wheel loader, a telescopic wheel loader for those who want to reach higher, the compact telehandler, or the wide array of Weideman attachments, you know they'll get the job done. Comfortable, safe, and economical. See what's in store for you with a full line of Weideman products at Amra Farm Equipment, Highway 13 east of Camrose at Legacy Junction.
It's 5:11. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Also, Oilers Nation, Facebook and YouTube. Also on X. And if you want to watch on Instagram, you can check us out at Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you here. Kate the Great keeping us online as we stream forward here. About 50 minutes left on the show before we hand things over to Fox Sports Radio. Of course, the Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use promo code Gregor50 and you get a $50 free play. Also, tomorrow it is Lotto Max worth $20 million. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Remember, use your game sense. Stay within your limits. Still to come on the show, we will get to Kevin Woodley, talk a little NHL goaltending. But right now, it is time for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. They specialize in underground infrastructure. They make your life more enjoyable with running water and indoor plumbing. They're the grinders of construction. GS Construction. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joins us now. Spec, how you doing today?
Oh, pretty fair. What's going on, Connor?
You know what? Not too much. Just kind of heading towards the new year. Are you a New Year's resolution guy?
No.
If you want to do something, you just do it day of, right?
I went through the story on how all these people join gyms at New Year's.
Yeah.
And then by January 15th, they stopped going.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in so much trouble. The people at the gym were mad at me. The people who interviewed were mad at me. My boss was mad at me. I don't know. I thought it was a good story, but
it's true though, right? Like it drops off quick.
That's why everyone was mad, because people at the gym, people who talked to me about it, didn't like the fact that the truth wasn't good for their business. But it's the truth. Everyone joins the gym on Jan 1, and by Jan 20th, they're like, "Oh, I haven't been for a week."
Yeah, works long. The days it's dark. Exactly. That's the way it goes. I told Gregor and Struddy my New Year's resolution once, and that led into me having to watch a movie every week because I just wanted to watch more of the classic movies, and I had to do reviews of it every Monday. Sometimes it's best just to keep them to yourself, I think.
Well, I think, you know what, at least, and then if you disappoint and you don't follow through, at least you're only disappointing yourself and not somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, there's your transition into the Edmonton Oilers coming back after their Christmas break, losing to the LA Kings in overtime, and then the next day to the Anaheim Ducks. Power play was good. PK was good. Just couldn't get it done. And they had 2-goal lead twice in that game over Anaheim. What were your impressions on their play during that loss yesterday?
Yeah, they just quit playing. They got up 3-1 and took the night off, to be honest with you. You know, they got up 3-1 against an inferior team. The Oilers are way better. They had the puck as much as they wanted to have it for the first period, and then they just laid down and laid off and just said, it's enough work for tonight. So, you know, the other guys are trying, man. The other guys could smell that there was an opening. And Anaheim, you know, they get a goal and they get another goal. And then now you can't reel it back in because you've had your feet up too long. So, listen, it happens. You know, Edmonton's a really good team, and they beat Anaheim 7 in a row. I think they beat them 10 out of 11 or something. But you can't just, you know, the old saying goes, you can't just chuck your gloves and sticks over the board to win a hockey game. And frankly, that's kind of what the Oilers did yesterday. So, you know what? Good lesson, right? Good lesson. Even the last place team will beat you if you put in minimal effort.
So now they turn the attention to the Utah Hockey Club, a team that, you know, overall, I think 6-2-2 in their last 10. They have lost 3 in a row, but closer games. Even the game against the Avalanche was closer till the end. You're Coach Knobloch. What would the message be to the team heading into this one?
Well, the beauty of having a mature team like Edmonton that's been through a lot is he doesn't have to walk in the room and say, see, you know, see, you didn't try hard enough and you lost. They know. They knew in the third period last game. So he doesn't have to, that part of coaching. There was coaches in Edmonton who had to deliver that message at one time. They don't have to deliver it anymore. The players will take care of that. So Coach Knobloch will not say a word about, hey, how about if we try harder today? He doesn't have to say that, right? So that's good. Utah at home is a game you should win. When you just blew 2 points to Anaheim, I think I expect an absolutely better effort. I expect a attentive 60 minutes from the better team, which is Edmonton. And if that happens, I'm not saying they win every time, but if they play well for 60 minutes and pay attention and put in the work, how will they beat Utah out of 10 games? They would beat them 8 times, probably, right?
Yeah. Mark Spector joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. The lines down at practice today had Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Janmark, Henrique, Brown, Perry, Ryan, Kapanen. That leaves out Jeff Skinner. And he's been kind of a polarizing figure in Edmonton, his whole tenure here. What do you think the future or the next few weeks hold for Jeff Skinner?
Well, it's a touchy one, man. Jeff Jackson really messed that up, particularly because you lost Holloway.
Mm-hmm.
Who in their right mind wouldn't take Holloway today instead of Skinner? Holloway at less money instead of Skinner, right? A young, fast, big kid that picks up the pace against an older, slow, small veteran that doesn't appear to be able to help a good team. So, this is, and I don't think there's any, the best thing that could happen is if he'd waive his no move and they could find a way to ship him off and free up $3 million in cap space. That's really what they're trying. They'll probably end up settling for if they can. And that's a big if, but this is not good. For what we've seen of Jeff Skinner, he's not going to magically get better and start helping this team. He can't help you in the bottom 6 because he's never been a checker in his life. And he's not working here in the top 6 because I'm here to tell you, as I've said on this show before, if McDavid or Draisaitl by this point would have gone to the coach and said, give him to me, play with me, I'll take him, he'd be up there. So neither of those guys have said that. He's stuck now. He's not even on the 4th line anymore. I don't know what you do. The coach can't use him, but the president acquired him, and now the GM, Stan Bowman, who showed up 3 weeks later, it's probably his problem to try to figure out what to do with him.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, hey, I'll eat crow. I thought this would be a great signing. You pop him in there, maybe a 20-goal scorer, and we're laughing. But just as long as it's gone on, I kept thinking, okay, it's going to happen eventually. Guy can't even find the lineup now.
No, it's goofy. My question to you, Connor, is where is Jesse Puljujarvi going to play when the Oilers pick him up on waivers?
Oh, yeah, they need that depth in their system. I actually was going to bring that your way because we were talking about it, and Declan in 5 questions had said, is this it for JP in the NHL? And I kind of think it is. He's no. I mean, he's got potential, but he'll be 27 in May. He's got the injuries. He hasn't really had the double-digit goal season, 3-4 years ago? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would say this to you. I don't know. I feel like there's enough teams that have room to take on the project that he will get picked up. I feel like someone will take him. Maybe I'm wrong. Generally speaking, if 10 guys go through waivers, how many get picked up? 1?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe 0.4, So lots of guys go through waivers, they'll get picked up. And frankly, he probably won't get picked up. But I don't feel like he's done. But I will say this, and it's just really not much different than a guy like Kapanen. And Kapanen, because Barry Kapanen has accomplished more in the league than Jesse Puljujarvi. But, Kapanen went through waivers twice and ends up in Edmonton. And I don't know this to be true, but I'm guessing, and I'm pretty damn sure, somebody in his life said, Kasperi, if you want to be an NHL player, you just found yourself on a cup contending team, an excellent club, a good roster, all those things. You better show you can play. This is a huge opportunity. You better play in Edmonton, because if you go on waivers again, no one's picking you up for the fourth time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been very good here. Kasperi Kapanen, the book on him was he'd give you a couple weeks and then he fades away and he turns back into the guy you don't want anymore. And he's not doing that here. He's been good. He's on the fourth line now, but he's playing hard and he's producing. And I think Jesse Puljujarvi's at that point where if he's lucky, he'll get a fourth organization here, but he's burned through 3 of them.
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
I'm rooting for him. Like, I hope he can find a way. I've always, thought there would be some upside, but I just wonder, can he help you out on special teams? Is he going to get a chance to work on that if he goes down to the AHL? And if so, why hasn't it happened yet? Why are we waiting till these 26, 27-year-olds to do it? So, like I said, I'm hoping for it.
3 organizations, 3 sets of coaches, 3 of them gave up on the player. So that's a problem. Like that's, you don't, if you're lucky, you get a 4th try. But yes, he's awfully, at this point, yes, he's a PTO guy next fall. And you know what? The only contract he might get might be in Helsinki here. That's, he's, I'm not saying he's at the end of his NHL line. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm like you. Everyone loves Jesse. He was such a nice guy. But as an old scout told me, the minors are filled with nice guys. And, Jesse is he better figure it out quick because he's 27. He's, hoping to join his 4th organization. And he has got nothing done in this league yet. You only get so many chances.
Spec final, more of a statement and a question for you personally. Have you sobered up from the celebration on Friday night when Latvia beat Canada?
Just barely. In fact, had a little winter fire this afternoon at the lake and had a ceremonial jump. Didn't break a leg or anything. So, hey, man, good for Latvia. It puts a little wind in everyone's sails just when you think you've seen everything. You see Latvia beat Canada in hockey. I mean, it's, and watching Canada play Germany yesterday, it's okay, that was a one-off. Latvia beat you. Stuff happens. But now you go up against Germany, you can't score goals either. There's clearly some issues here. And I do fear here a little bit for Canada when, they play the U.S. coming up here. U.S. is really good. If you can't score goals on Germany and Latvia, how you score it on the U.S. And then we get into the elimination game. So good luck. But I'm not loving this squad. I don't think anyone in Canada is particularly loving this squad, are they?
No, not at all. Lots of questions about some of the players that were left off. 5:30 tomorrow, and they're getting shots, but they're not very good shots. So hopefully they can clean it up.
Yeah, it's a perimeter team, and we're not a perimeter country. I thought Ken Reed had the best statement. He retweeted somebody. Was it like Jay Rosehill or someone like that? I don't know if you saw it the other day. But basically, he said, there was a time when Canada was in a game against Latvia or Germany and it wasn't going their way. And they said, okay, let's start hitting these guys. Let's take over physically and see if the other guys can handle it. And, let's turn it up physically here. And Canada used to do that. And Kevin Carius reminded me this morning, they used to have guys like Jordan Tutu on those teams, right?
Yeah.
Who'd run you through the end boards. And we don't have that anymore. That's not in our DNA. It's not in our personality. We're no different than the USA now. We're just a bunch of guys skating around making skill plays. That used to be our trump card. And we don't have that trump card anymore. Now we're just like everyone else. And I don't like it one bit, right? We got to remember what used to give us the edge and get it back. I don't know if we can get it back, Connor, but I miss it. And Kenny Reed and Rosehill and those guys, they're dead right. We're not physical anymore. And that used to be our big edge on everybody else.
Yeah, it's funny because that was the name I brought up with Sean Brown as well. I remember Jordan Tutu that tournament. I think he had 2 points. His impact was immense just by what he was doing. He got the crowd into it with that style of play. I mean, we're playing in Canada on our soil. You can get a guy like that in the game to get the crowd into it. It's a huge impact. And especially against a team like Latvia, the crowd's into that. You're playing physical. There's no way that game's going into overtime. But
right. Those European teams used to be scared spitless of Canada. They used to be clenched up so tight when the game started because they knew it was going to be a tough, rough, hard night. And then our skill took over. And then when we softened them up, we started scoring goals on them. Well, we don't soften anybody up anymore. I don't love that much. And let's see if we lose out quick and there's another summit in this country, maybe that's what we'll talk about a little bit, huh?
I'm looking forward to it. It'd be a big storyline for us going forward. Spec, enjoy the time out at the lake. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
All right. Thanks, Connor. Happy New Year, everybody.
There you go. Mark Spector of Rogers Sports at the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some NHL goaltending, some Canadian goaltending, and more with Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine. You're listening to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 and watching on Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Mr. Rooter makes a prank phone call.
It's ringing.
Hello?
Hello there. Is your faucet running?
Yeah, actually it is. I have this really annoying drip.
Oh, you'll want to check for mineral buildup or corrosion. Otherwise, it's likely a defective gasket or O-ring. I got him good.
Mr. Rooter, you're the worst at this.
For lousy punchlines and immaculate water lines, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
Delicious news. The McDonald's meals you love are now $9.99 every day. Grab your faves like the Big Mac, 6-piece McNugget, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish with medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99 each plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Edmonton, Alberta, and the surrounding area, prices exclude delivery.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, along with 2 very special granddaughters wishing you a Merry Christmas.
I'm Saxon. I'm Goldie.
There's something beautiful about the holidays, the warm feeling of being with family. It's why we love camping so much.
Camping with Papa is why I love to visit Canada. Best part of camping is Goldie cake.
That's right, Goldie. The great outdoors is a lot of fun, just like your famous Goldie cakes. And while we don't get to go camping much this time of year, it's fun to enjoy our time together, even if we're stuck inside most of the time. We have to cherish these moments because before you know it, you'll be teenagers.
Well, I'm going to be a teenager soon. You just wait.
Not if I can help it.
My papa is really old. Maybe like 35.
Happy Christmas from Saxon, Goldie, and all of us in the No Bull family. And to all a good night.
And that's No Bull. NobleRV.ca.
It's 5:30. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great with you here. Just about to wrap this show up, about 30 minutes or so. But first, we're going to head out to Hawaii and talk some NHL goaltending with Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Kevin, how are you doing today?
Oh, you said where I am.
I was going to say aloha, but
you got to know I'm doing okay. No better spot to talk NHL goaltending than with the ocean crashing in the background. It's been a good Christmas, and it will be a great New Year before I get to come back to the rain of Vancouver early in 2025. But trying to enjoy as much of this as I can in the meantime.
Beautiful. Any surfing so far for you guys?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's been a little bit. How do we say, above the pay grade for a while. So there's thresholds to which I am not available to reach. So. But we've had a little bit of in between, so it's not bad at all.
Well, let's talk something you know better than most, NHL goaltending. And we'll start off with the local team here and Stuart Skinner. Seeing some people didn't necessarily love the overtime winner against the LA Kings. What were your thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look back at all four, and like I said, just given where I am, didn't watch it live, but I look back at all four goals in that game, and I look for some trends of late. And if there has been one thing, and I think overall the play's gotten better. I think everybody can see that. But yeah, some low percentage goals. The first Byfield goal actually in that game before the overtime winner. Tough spot with Byfield able to walk out, but sort of sits in reverse and then gets caught transitioning a little late, short side high. I mean, again, time and space for a good player, but that ends up going down as a low percentage goal. Kastelik in the Bruins game, a low percentage goal. The Reinhart one, obviously, against Florida. So a little bit more of that. The Howden goal against Vegas, just creeping into the game a little bit. And as far as the overtime winner, bit of a tough play, like time and space, ends up going down as a mid. And I think what happens is once Byfield gets around the corner and there's no defensive help, you see Stewart, he's in a good spot at the edge of his crease. But as Byfield kind of comes around the corner, it becomes almost like a mini breakaway with a pass option. So like a 2-on-1. And I'm guessing his read is he's got to get a little backwards flow in case Byfield just walks in. And so you see him cut backwards. And as soon as you start retreating, this is a smart play by Byfield, but as soon as you start retreating in a sort of C-cut manner, that sort of straight back manner, you give up far side angle. Like it's why off the rush, guys are taught to sort of retreat with short steps rather than that straight line flow back to your goal line. Because as you get close to your goal line, you're essentially flattening out and giving up the far side. And so smart play by Byfield to recognize that. You'd like to maybe see a little less drift in Stewart's game, and yet there's a backdoor pass option. So I did the one part that I wouldn't know without asking Stewart is, and I went through this and I rewound it a bunch of times, and it looked almost like Byfield opened the blade up for a split second. You watch the heel of his blade dig in, almost like he's going short side high, and then on the release, turn over the wrists to go far side. And the way Stewart, I think that drift gives up far side, but the way he reacted, almost lifting up the blocker side, like that's what he was expecting. I wonder if that was one of those moments where, a high-end young shooter added a little deception to a release and showed short side, and then as he released the puck, turned the hands over and delivers it far side. So, like, a couple of those goals, as much as you can nitpick some elements of them, I do think there's a time where you just have to, and it's usually when the shooter has time and space, that you've got to kind of tip your hat a little bit and, just sort of say, hey, like, that's a good shot by a good shooter who had the time to pick a spot. And this might be a little bit of both in that case. Now, do you give yourself a better chance if you hold your edges, maybe drift a little less? Yeah, fair. And that's a read that will continue to evolve for Stewart. Like I said, I've liked his game in the last little while. I feel like there's less aggression there. Even on that play, everybody says, even the analysis, I was watching the Kings feed as I watched the replays, and they're talking about how deep he ends up. Well, he ends up deep because of that retreat, and the retreat might be a little aggressive. But up until sort of Byfield gets up near the face-off sort of circle in towards the dot, before he starts that retreat, he's actually in great shape. Like, he's just toes inside the edge of the crease, and I don't mind his positioning at all. I'll take that over some of the over-aggressiveness that I think he got caught with early in the season. And I think when you you add some of those trends into the numbers overall since December. And again, outside of those, tendency for the odd low percentage goal, I think his game's headed in the right direction. Even with some of those ones that, you can nitpick a little bit.
The Utah Hockey Club in action tonight taking on Seattle. They'll be in Edmonton tomorrow. They're going to start Vejmelka tonight. Could be a bit of a benefit for the Oil, hey?
Yeah, because Karl Vejmelka has been one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League this year. And, kind of interesting / curious trend. We've seen it with Philip Gustafsson as well. Great season, tough season, great season. Vejmelka's in the same boat right now. Was so good 2 years ago. Fell off a cliff statistically last year. And right now, I think probably people are overlooking it because the results maybe haven't been there for the team and the wins and losses haven't piled up in the right direction for him. But his adjusted save percentage right now, among guys who have seen at least 250 chances, so sort of filter out the guys who've only played a handful of games, plus 2.7% is actually among those goalies second to only Anthony Stolar. So slightly ahead of a Logan Thompson, a Philip Gustafsson, and a Connor Halley. Not bad company to keep if you're Karl Vejmelka. And, a bit of a conundrum if you're Utah, because Connor Ingram has kind of gone the other way this year, and he's hurt right now, but he's kind of trended in the opposite direction. They seem, for whatever reason, to be able to get one guy going, because last year Vejmelka struggled and Ingram got on a roll, but not two. So bit of a break if you're the Oilers that you don't have to face Vejmelka tonight. And yet, having said that, in a very small sample size, Jackson Stauber, who I'm assuming they will see, formerly of Chicago Blackhawks, barely any experience in the National Hockey League. He's also posted some pretty nice results in just a handful of games this season with Utah. His adjusted save percentage, again, tiny sample, so massive grain of salt compared to Vejmelka, but he's actually right there with him in terms of per shot performance relative to shot quality so far this season. So it would have been a bigger break the way Ingram has trended if they got him. We'll have to wait and see with Stauber, but anytime you're not facing a guy who from tip to tail this season through over 500 chances has been one of the best in the league, I'd say it's a break.
Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in for Jason, who will be back on Thursday. We saw the trade, Mackenzie Blackwood going to the Colorado Avalanche, and it didn't take long for him to get that nice extension. Did that surprise you that it came so soon?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. And I've seen a lot of criticism of it. And I sort of understand where that's coming from. The last couple of seasons, the raw numbers haven't been kind to Mackenzie Blackwood. Obviously playing behind a not great San Jose Sharks team and playing through injuries before the trade to San Jose when he was in New Jersey. And so I could see why, especially given how much difficulty the Avalanche have had stabilizing the position, I could understand why some are critical of the timing and how quickly they jump to this in terms of, maybe give it a little more time before you make such a long-term commitment. And yet, Blackwood's always had the upside when healthy of, a group that is making $8 million this year. Like he's had the potential, the raw skill, that's similar to an Ottinger or a Swayman and those types. He just hasn't either had the opportunity based on the team he's playing behind, the health, and that was a big issue in New Jersey, to sort of put that together. Now he gets it in Colorado. And so they're betting he will. And if he does, that's a bargain at 5.25. The risk is, whether it's through injury or performance, that he doesn't hold it up. And the one reason you might want to get this out of the way, because he's a pending UFA, is since the trade, I talked about that number for Karl Vejmelka on the season. Since the trade, Blackwood's in the same territory, like plus 2.9% relative to shot quality, relative to defensive environment, top 10 in the NHL, but with a relatively, pretty high expected 905. In other words, he's gotten to Colorado. He's performed really well. They're a really good defensive team. And so part of me is like, I'd like to see what happens when the environment levels off a little bit. Part of me understands if it doesn't level off, if the Avs continue to play this well defensively and he just holds water, he might be able to command an even bigger deal on the free agent market. And so that side of it, I understand, wanting to lock him up. They like the fit. The only hesitation for me is he's a guy that, doesn't like to overthink the game. Like, just keep it simple for him and he'll be fine. And they've got a goalie coach there in UC Parkilla who's a very technical and really gets into the nitty gritty with his guys. And it's going to be important for him to recognize that that's not the way to roll once the season gets going with Mackenzie Blackwood, that you don't want him out there overthinking. Even here in Vancouver, he came in and had a decent but not great game shortly before the holidays. And he said to me afterwards, his pants were bugging him because he was still wearing his San Jose pants, but they had put a shell over top of them, an avalanche colored shell over top, and they were too tight. And you could see him fidgeting with it for most of the game. So to me, that's an example of a guy who, can get a little bit in his head a little bit and start overthinking things. And so it'll be important for the goalie coach there to make sure he doesn't overload him with information. And if he doesn't, this could be a really good deal for them, even with the risk of signing it on a very, very small sample size so far.
Kevin, one more before we let you go here. Obviously, the Canucks, a little bit of injury concerns here for the next few weeks, but between the pipes, a couple good options. Who do you expect to take them down the stretch here? And I guess when you eventually get to the playoffs, be the guy.
Well, I mean, eventually long term, the guy's going to be Thatcher Demko, you would think. And yet in the short term, coming off a game where they blow a 4-1 lead with 5 minutes left, not that it was Demko's fault, but this is a coaching staff that has very much made decisions based on short-term performance. They got into trouble with it last year, frankly. When Demko got hurt, the first of the two knee injuries, from the All-Star break on, Casey DeSmith had actually kind of a similar game where couldn't stop the bleeding against Minnesota. They ended up giving up 10. And from that point on, after the All-Star break, Demko played a 65-game pace or a 65-start pace up until the injury. And so now, shoe's sort of on the other foot. Demko's had a rough end the other night, needs to play to find his rhythm, is ultimately your number one goaltender and has your highest upside of the two guys here. Like, as good as Lankinen has been for them, the reality is Demko has a higher top level. Like, there's a higher gear there. The risk is if they keep going to Lankinen for short-term results, especially with Quinn Hughes out, and this team is like two different teams with and without Quinn Hughes on the ice. So it doesn't bode well for what they're going to be without having him as an option for the next 2 or 3 weeks at all. Literally, they look like world beaters with him on the ice. And then when he's on the bench, they look like a lottery team. So, and the numbers back that up in terms of, some of the underlying expected goals for and against and shot control metrics. So without him now for a couple of weeks, if they chase short-term results and start Lankinen, I wonder what that does for Thatcher Demko in terms of his confidence, his ability to sort of rediscover as he tries to find his game after 7 months off. There's a real risk there, I believe, of looking for short-term results at the expense of finding your ultimate long-term solution or giving who should be your ultimate long-term solution the opportunity to find his game. And they're going to have to walk that tightrope. They've already said they're going to split these next two they're in Calgary tomorrow night and then Seattle on the 2nd, and then here for the second end of a back-to-back against Nashville on January 3rd that I'm back for. And a lot of people sort of watching closely to see how they handle this goaltending decision. They've already gone to Kevin Lankinen in back-to-back starts once since Thatcher Demko returned, and I think more eyebrows will be raised if they continue to play him more than maybe anyone expected coming into the season.
Great stuff, Kevin. We really appreciate you joining us from your vacation. Aloha, Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you and all your listeners. Connor, appreciate you getting me on today, and now it's back to the beach.
Absolutely. Go enjoy. We'll talk to you next week. That is Kevin Woodley, In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. How many of us would trade spots with him right now? Declan, have you ever been to Hawaii?
Never made my way out to Hawaii.
I've only been once. Worth it.
How was the flight in? Because I know people who have gone who have said the flight in is quite turbulent.
For me, it was good.
Okay.
My worst flight in was a trip to Seattle, and that one scared me from flying for a little bit. But Hawaii was good. I think I watched Stranger Things the entire flight there, and then you get there, you have a Kona, and you take it easy. It's just a comfortable temperature 24/7. It's always quite nice there. Beautiful place for those who haven't been. It might be looking to take a vacation this year. I'd highly recommend it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show, talk a little football as the Niners and Lions making their way to the field. We'll also let you know what's going on in the there's one or two games that have gotten started already in the NHL. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Checking off your gift list can go more smoothly when you give smoothies. From now till December 31st, buy a $30 Booster Juice gift card and gift yourself with any regular size smoothie for free. Try the new salted caramel smoothie made with vanilla oat beverage, vanilla frozen yogurt, and decadent caramel. It pairs magically with the salted caramel booster ball, bursting with score toffee bites, cinnamon, maple syrup, cashew butter, and more. Happiest of holidays from Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
A lot of things were going on in 1974. Happy Days premiered on television. The Rubik's Cube was invented. Halley and Foreman fought the rumble in the jungle. And GS Construction started their first job. Yes, for 50 years, GS Construction has been building the infrastructure of Edmonton and surrounding areas. Think of the neighborhoods that weren't even built yet. Think of all the work that had to be done to get them built. Probably about 50 years. But for GS Construction, it's been time well spent. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab elevation models. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
The Boxing Week blowout is back at the Brick. Shop their extraordinary deals like 60% off sofas when you buy the matching Love Seater chair. Save up to $2,500 off big screen TVs, up to 25% off bedroom and dining room furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an extra $300 off kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick. Save you more.
The holiday season can be a bittersweet time for those carrying the memory of a loved one in their heart. At Connolly McKinley Funeral Homes, we want you to know that you're not alone. While grief may change the way we experience the holidays, love endures in every cherished memory and shared story. If you need support, a listening ear, or guidance, please don't hesitate to reach out. Wishing you and your family comfort and hope this Christmas from everyone here at Connolly McKinley Funeral Homes. If you live or work in the country, you need your water well in top condition. Wash away any doubt with Caliber Drilling. Experts in residential and industrial water well services with over 20 years experience and a team of dedicated journeyman drillers, plumbers, and electrical technicians. Need a new water well or work done on your existing well? Keeping you well maintained and well serviced is their #1 priority. Financing is available. Visit caliberdrilling.com for a complete list of all drilling services or call 780-960-2992.
Online gambling website.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tomorrow's Lotto Max, $20 million. Get your ticket today, PlayAlberta.ca. Use your game sense. Stay within your limits. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Kate the Great with you here. Wrapping up today's show. It has been a great one. If you missed any part of it, make sure you go to Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcast from. Give it a listen. We had Belle Fraser join us earlier on in the show, talking the Utah Hockey Club. Sean Brown, Jason Strudwick, Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, AJ Jackubek talking World Juniors, Gregor, Speck, Woodley. It's all up there for available interviews. You can listen to them by themselves or in the entire hour. Go check it out wherever you get your podcast from. Do appreciate them joining us on the show today. Declan, we're a few minutes away here from kickoff out in Santa Clara with the Niners taking on the Detroit Lions. I believe someone actually texted this in. It doesn't matter what happens tonight. Next week is going to be Vikings Lions for the division, which is very cool. That got flexed to the Sunday nighter. So that'll be a fun one for sure. I remember a couple of years ago, it was the Lions, I think, just trying to stay alive, except they were eliminated during the day. Now they are playing for one of the top seeds. Pretty impressive what they've been able to do.
The optics would look a lot cooler if they were able to win this one, even if they lose next week, though. Because if they lose this and next week, they'll be a 4-loss team. Minnesota will be a 2-loss team. It just looks better if each of them have, 3 losses there.
Yeah. Seems like they'll be able to find and get their way into it. College football playoffs starting tomorrow. We're resuming tomorrow, right? We got one game, and then New Year's Day we'll have a few more. Already it's been great. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe some people hate it. But
it's been a cool concept.
It's been a fun concept to talk about it, getting into it. On New Year's Day, you got Texas, Arizona, Oregon, Ohio State. You also have Notre Dame taking on Georgia. 3 great games, but tomorrow at 5:30, Boise State, Penn State. I think the majority of people would say Penn State wins this one, but hey, Boise's had some miracles in the past. Why not with a guy who almost could have nearly won the Heisman? Genty in that backfield. If you're Penn State, Declan, is this a game where you're like, we're stuffing 8-9 guys in the box here, and we're just going to try to eliminate the run?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, James Franklin pretty much came out and said as much. Like, a reporter asked him, during media for the team, how do you deal with one of the best running backs in college football this year? And he said, no, one of the best running backs in college football ever. So they're taking this guy seriously for sure. Another fun stat about this game, I believe I'm correct here. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure these two teams are a combined 9-0 in the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh,
I
really?
think Penn State's 6-0 and Boise State's 3-0. So someone's O has got to go.
Yeah, well, it was the Fiesta Bowl when Boise beat Oklahoma.
Yeah,
right?
it sure was.
Adrian Peterson's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tostitos. Statue of Liberty, the lateral there. What a game that was. My goodness.
Jared Zabransky, Ian Johnson, I think was the running back who proposed. And then they had the Kellen Moore era, Boise State.
There's the Gonzaga of football, man. Like, honestly.
Just with a blue field. Kind of, they stand out. Penn State right now, 11-point favorites in this one. Money line minus 450. So Penn State heavily favored in this one, despite being the lower seed. Boise got their flowers, but it's going to be a tough one for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you tuning into the Jason Gregor Show today. We will be off somewhat tomorrow. We'll be a best of the Jason Gregor Show. Then we'll be off New Year's Day and back on Thursday, Friday with regular programming. Carious, Fantasy Frenzy, and Lowdown with Lowtide will all be live tomorrow. So we'll be live until 2 o'clock. Then it's a best of edition of this show. So have a fantastic New Year's Eve. Be safe. Have a good time. Enjoy your time. And we'll be back to talk to you guys again on Thursday. Of course, the Oilers in action tomorrow night, taking on the Utah Hockey Club. So we will have pregame coverage with Donovan Paulson and Andrew Walker, 6 o'clock postgame, as soon as that one wraps up. Up next, we got Fox Sports Radio. But first, let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter long at legacyheating.ca. Here is Declan Kruger.
The Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, Panthers currently leading the Rangers 2-0 at the end of the first in NHL action. Jets and Preds tied at 0 with just over 13 minutes to go in the first as well. And set to go in about 5 minutes time here, Utah and Seattle in the last game of the night. NBA scoreboard right now, Bulls leading the Hornets 42-34 with just over 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Knicks, they lead the Wizards 49-43. 5 minutes to go in the second. In that one, in a couple minutes time here, we'll see the Clippers and Pelicans. Finals from earlier today in the World Juniors, it was Slovakia over Kazakhstan 5-4 in overtime, and Latvia over Germany 4-3 in OT as well. Iowa did fall to Missouri in the Music City Bowl 27-24 earlier today, and 15-20 minutes time until kickoff in Monday Night Football, Lions and Niners. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty